since a baby and baby blue. I stick you with your verses like crazy glue. My rhyme partner go as deep as the Navy do. Dope space killer on the track can save the world. The black market fucking up the game. We change the rules. Politics with niggas if they beats and steady. Nobody front when they see us on the streets. So let's show them. Throw your hands up, roll up the L. This is black market shit. These niggas do it well. Throw your hands up, roll up the L. This is black market shit. And these niggas do it well. Right, roll up the L. This is niggas do it well.
Here are the major highlights for Google I/O 2026. The new Anti-Gravity 2.0 is your mission control for orchestrating agents. And with the new dynamic sub-agents, the agent can now spin up specialized helpers to work in parallel. For programmatic control, we're also launching the new Anti-Gravity CLI and SDK. For those looking to build fully hosted custom agents, we're launching managed agents in the Gemini API. In Google AI Studio, we've added tighter integration with Google products and added support for VID coding Android apps. We're bringing official Android development support directly into Anti-Gravity. You can now leverage the combined power of Anti-Gravity and the Android CLI to help you build high-quality apps that follow Android development best practices. And we've made it super easy for you to put agents to work. Modern web guidance lets you hand implementation over to agents so you can stay in your flow. And Chrome DevTools for agents can handle debugging so you can just keep on building. For all the announcements made at I/O, visit io.google.
Get your whitest smile for 12 months with just one kit of Crest 3D white strips.
This smile for a year?
Yes, this smile for a whole year.
Whoa!
Get your whitest smile with Crest 3D white strips.
Some people say that they will never be heard. Speak a little louder, or they'll never hear your word. It's okay. Yeah, they're probably not listening anyway. Yeah, check it. When I was growing up, I was a dreamer, not a realist. They said you dreaming, son, because you'll never be the illest. Now I'm a mix between a realist and a dreamer. I drive a piece of shit, but I'm still dreaming of a beamer. I sat here long enough, like I was in an abandoned building, walking a tightrope in this world, trying to provide for my children. This world's in recession, bringing me to depression. So meet me at the studio for a 3-hour session to release some aggression. The microphone's a healer, music on my weapons, and I am the killer. If music were drugs, then I'd be the dealer. If my rhymes were sirloins, I'd be the griller, the chiller. And Sassy up, it's time to lash out. Look around with all this garbage, time to take the trash out. Monkey fire, and I get cooled off by rain. And if anybody tries to bring me down, I will get up again and keep grinding. Some people say that they will never be heard. Speak a little louder. Listen anyway.
Probably, let's see. Like noonish. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
the pressure, the pain of an icon. The only time my soul breathes easy gets when my mic's on. Spitting juice over beats equals the right song. Therapeutic, retributing through the veins in my arms. My infrastructure, pessimistic through history. Once conceived, 9 months of history. Proof for birth, 4 different certificates. Different dates for different bodies, same face. My eyes see through the speech. Was a reach. My mom's play was safe.
Leisure.
To a leash. My confidence was shut down. Standing on the road of love and got run down. Surrounded by mannequins posing threats. 3 times in 2 weeks I was close to death. Forever playing the game of life with just these roles. Some people say that they will never be heard. Speak a little louder, or they'll never hear your words. It's okay. Yeah. You're
Probably not listening.
anyway. Yeah. Speak a little
He
louder.
deserves it.
Speak a little louder. 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 Speak a little louder.
No need to hide anymore with Clear Skin Solutions by La Roche-Posay.
Oh, la poche posée. Allez, chauffe. Oh, la poche posée.
Effaclar by La Roche-Posay.
Here I am, field trip chaperone.
Before helping prevent migraine with Qulipta, it was hard keeping plans.
And look at me now.
You'll never truly forget migraine, but Qulipta
Tim's cover my toes. New York swagger, braggadocious, turn my nose up, sprinkle my lyrics over the track and burn the flow up. All my mommies show up, they stuffing their knees. Amazed by the kid, how I do it with ease. No
So
pen,
true.
paper, I know it's hard to believe. It's the talent God gave me, son, I'm thankful to heed. You could knock this in your iPod or bang it in your whip. Either way, you gon'
Yeah.
scream out, told us the shit. I'm after the gold, then the platinum, yeah. That's what it is, baby, that's what's happening, yeah. It's about that time, son, I'm long overdue. Mommies, get your hits ready, y'all know what to do. Hip-hop was never dead, it just needed some light. So put your hands up high. Down by the river, baby, put your hands up high. Down in the valley, baby, put your hands up high. Down on the corner, baby, put your hands up high. Just put your hands up Mr. Wrench hitting me with a classic, yeah. I had to do what I do and spit acid, yeah. I can't help but killing tracks is a habit, yeah. It's so amazing, it's like magic. New York knows, the Midwest knows, the dirty South knows, and West Coast knows. I'm the light at the end of the tunnel. Don't believe these other rappers, they don't love you. They just want their little money and they gone. They don't really care about making real songs. But I got you, my peoples, your boy Tone is so focused I can see through planets. I can swim the Atlantic, I can stop a tornado, I can bring back the dead, move mountains. I can turn rocks to bread, turn bloods to angels, turn sluts to nuns. In case you haven't figured it out, Tone's the one. Down by the river, baby, put your hands up high.
Mix and match. The pizzas
are large and you're in charge. 2 or more faves for only $5.99 each. This match or...
On this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing it by my lonesome, pissed off who wants some. I'm fighting for my soul, gotta get at your boy. You try to go guard, fall back, I go hard. On this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing it by my lonesome, pissed off who wants some.
I see them long hard times to come.
My life is ill, son. Prepared to kill, son. A paradox of pain, baby, is real, son. Lonely traveler, ain't trying to battle you, but if you're feeling tough, dog, I walk up all challenges. Ain't got no family, you see this one of me. Like Lucia Post standing 2 feet in front of me. I'm pissed at the world, but I ain't looking for trouble. I might crack a grin, I ain't looking to hug you. Now think about it. Nobody wants to die. There's rules to this game, son. I'm justified. I'm ready to go, partner. Hey, I'm on the run. The devil's hugging on my boots. That's why I'm on the gun. This journey's too long. I'm looking for some answers. So much time stressing. I forget the questions. I fear no man. You don't want no problems. Be eyes in the back of my head. You better not follow me on this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing it by my lonesome, pissed off for one some. I'm fighting for my soul. God, get at your boy. You try to go guard, fall back. I go hard on this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing it by my lonesome, pissed off for one some.
I see them long hard times to come.
You probably think I'm crazy or got some loose screws, but that's alright though. I'ma do me, you do you. So how you judging me? I'm just trying to survive, and if the time comes, I ain't trying to die. I'm just trying to fly and get a little love. Find me a dime piece and get a little hug. Hook the car up, hit the bar up, clean the stars up. Hey yo, the stars up. Hey, this is the life of an outlaw. We ain't promised tomorrow. I'm now, dog. I'm walking through life, but yo, my feet hurt. All my blessings are fair. Man, I rest when I'm dead. Look into my eyes and see the real world. Take a walk with me, have a talk with me. Where we end up, God only knows. Strap your boots on tight, you might be alright. On this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing it by my lonesome, pissed off who wants some. I'm fighting for my soul, God, get at your boy. You try to go guard, fall back, I go hard. On this lonely road, trying to make it home. Doing it by my lonesome, pissed off who wants some.
I see them long hard times to come.
Trying to make it home, doing it by my lonesome, pissed off for one some. I'm fighting for my soul, God, get at your boy. You try to go guard, fall back, I go hard. On this lonely road, trying to make it home, doing it by my lonesome, pissed off for one some.
I see them long hard times to come.
On this lonely road, trying to make it home, doing it by my lonesome, pissed off for one some. I'm fighting for my soul, God, get at your boy. You try to go guard, fall back, I go hard. On this lonely road, trying to make it home, doing it by my lonesome, pissed off for one some.
I see them long hard times to come.
Look into my eyes. way, another stage to wreck. I got rhymes that ain't even seen the pages yet. All you challengers step up and place your bets, and I'ma take them all out and not break the sweat. So take your threats elsewhere, I stay on the road. By the time I get back to you, maybe you'll hope to be worthy of a face-off in the center of town. The devil's waiting for you, boy, I'm sending you down. Then it's on to the next, like that song from Jay. Leaving a trail of bodies all along the way. Some of y'all might believe that's wrong to say, but that's a rambler's life and how it's going to stay. So think twice, then maybe have a third. I am the voice of reason, in case you haven't heard. I spit hot enough that I can make the sun melt. You just gonna wind up a notch on my gun belt.
You took all my dollars, I wouldn't shed no tears. You can have my suit up, fancy bag, I don't hold it here. Stick up kids know how I roll, I'll shoot you if I like. I'm a gun singing bumper, and I live a rambler's life.
My girl handle mics and plays across the plains. Those in the know are scared to say my name and fear that I might be an earshot, or if not, I might just magically appear, ending rappers' careers. So I'm taking it live, making orphans of children and widows of wives. I'm not killing these guys, please let me explain. But when I'm done, there'll be very little left in their brains, stripping the rest of their intelligence, and what's left is merely just the shell of a man. So keep that in mind if you think of going toe-to-toe and recognize for real, this ain't my first rodeo. I'm going flow for flow with hundreds of dudes, knowing all the while I got nothing to lose, and there ain't no stopping me. I guess that I'm destined to keep on rambling on like Led Zeppelin.
You took all my dollars, I wouldn't shed no tears. You can have my suit up, fancy bag, I don't hold it dear. The stick-up kids know how I roll, I'll shoot you if I like. I'm a gun slinging bumper, and I live a rambler's life.
Yo, we keep rambling on, we rambling on, we keep rambling on, rambling on, we stay rambling on, we rambling on, we still rambling on, we rambling on. Brooklyn down to Philly, yo, we rambling on. Philly down to VA, we rambling on. Delaware to Carolina, yo, we rambling on. Out to Kentucky, yo, we rambling on. And the whole Midwest, yo, we rambling on. And the whole West Coast, said we rambling on. Gangsta crash worldwide, and we rambling on. We stay rambling on.
Your time matters. Your peace of mind does too. At Amica, we make protecting the life you've built easier when you bundle your auto and home coverage with us. Get your quote today. Oatmeal.
No. Cold pizza.
No. Eggo waffles?
Yes!
You both said yes to something.
The delicious Eggo taste they want. The wholesome breakfast you want.
Ain't no stopping, I'm coming home.
It's the SLEUTH, and the way you get done is excruciating. You can't even imagine the brand of self-loathing you feel when you step to the man who's been chosen. I'm ice cold, pitch black and old golden. Trying to get your foot in the dough, I'm 10 toes in. Precious a pimp who gets chosen. Every last one of you simps gets stolen. You don't wanna let the dough in, cause when I get up in the dough, then you have to let my flow in. And my flow is oh so golden. Going when I'm on this microphone, I'm holding. Caulfield, drop a beat that y'all feel. Hold it over like the sword maker with the raw steel. Do it for my people living through the raw deal. Scarecrows might be fat, but they straw feel. That mean they got no heart. Far too many pieces in this puzzle for you not to know your part. Every time they change the rules of the game, players are the same, they just shuffle up the names. They may have a different face, but the joke is still wild. Already playing, might as well know how. Bang out a beat for my people in the crowd. MA in this piece, what Now let's get it like this. Like this. We all up in the house like this. We in a place like that. Like that. We all up in a place like that. We in a house like this. Like this. We all up in a house like this. We in a place like that. Like that. We all up in a place like that. Any beat up on this damn thing's toast when I'm on deck. I don't really mean to boast, but I'm gon' wreck. Ain't worried about them haters cause they won't test. Even if they try, leave them fried when the dough blessed. Call a medic cause it's so sick it might catch it. Tighter flows with the dough in a higher bracket. Spit fire like a barrel of a ratchet. Do it all in one pass, I ain't gotta patch it. When I spit, take a drink from the fire hose. Don't spill a drop cause I know that you're tired of those jaws that you hear near 35 minutes. No mice get swear that they nice with some kind of flow. Lord bless me with a brain so I use it. Work hard, do my damn thing in this music. Devil trying to make me go insane, so I prove him wrong. That's why I had to do this song like this. Like this. We all up in the house like this. We in a place like that. Like that. We all up in a place like that. We in a house like this. Like this. We all up in a house like this. We in a place like that. Like that. We all up in a place like that. We in a house like this. Too many demons in this world trying to tempt us. 2 or 3 every 4 years trying to pimp us. 5 fingers on the hand curl for the fist up. Get the other hand exposed, go and throw the 6 up. 7 is the number, both prime and divine. 8 sides on the sign, and you stop on the line. Long as I can see Pluto, and we still have 9. I bet your top 10 dead or alive ain't like mine. See the flow so crispy, you don't wanna miss me. When I hit this beat and throw it to you like a frisbee. Rolling with the flow, buck wild, Bill Bixby. On it with the dough, know the bowl is busy. Like this, like this. We all up in the house like this. We in a place like that, like that. We all up in a place like that. We in a house like this, like this. We all up in a house like this. We in a place like that, like that. We all up in a place like that. We in a house like this, like this. We all up in a house like this. We in a place like that, like that. We all up in a place like that. We in a house like this, like this. We all up in a house like this. We in a place like that, like that. We all up in a place like that. We in a house like this. Down in the desert, in the Delta rain, of dusty trails down the street. Ain't no stopping, I'm coming home.
Do the duck lips.
Ill pickle, Edward.
Once you pop, the pop don't stop.
Farewell, commoner.
Get bronze in the French Riviera. New Lumi Bronze Le Stick Soleil by L'Oréal Paris. A cream to powder stick that melts into skin for a bronze sun-kissed glow. New Lumi Bronze Le Stick Soleil. I'm worth it.
Yeah, I'll catch it on the next joint. Yeah.
I got big wheels on my big truck and I ain't bragging if I back it up. Just me then. Good luck cause I ain't bragging if I back it
They
up.
call
Come on.
this obligatory braggadocio. Dolly flowing colder than the snow up in the Poconos. Kid folk playing folk music cause my focal go. Twice born, look into my eyes, keep your focus on. And my focus on, get your vision fixed on the true definition of the lyrics that I spit. Take nothing for granted, what is given is a gift. If you don't keep the spirit, it's the image that's amiss from the scrimmage off the grip. 100 yards spread to the limit, I'm a tip, keep it steady on the grip. Spit a flow, keep you moving heavy on your hips. See you recognize the name laying heavy on your lips. Implicitly delivered, I endeavors on the mix. Getting recognized as clever, we forever get it in. On the level past the limit, cause we give it off the strip. How we illustrate the vision to the image that you get.
I got big wheels on my big truck and I ain't bragging if I back it up. You want just me then. Good luck, cause I ain't bragging if I back it up. I got big wheels on my big truck, and I ain't bragging if I back it up. Just need a good luck, cause I ain't bragging if I back it up. Come on. On my big truck, and I ain't bragging if I back it up. Just need a good luck, cause I ain't bragging if I back it up. I got big wheels on my big truck, and I ain't bragging if I back it up. Just need a good luck, cause I ain't bragging if I back it up. Come on.
Rewind, reimagine, recalibrate. You're in the presence of the caliph of the caliphate. And the people are telling you just how he's great. The way he made the whole land amalgamate. The way the world is changing will make your brain spin. Instead of waiting for Superman, I just became him. Tore my shirt off as I left the microphone booth. To let the people know to recognize their own truth. Me and my bro Sleuth redefine, show and prove. And everything I drop shines like I'm the golden goose. The crowd went wild when the anchor man told the news that they were being blessed by one of the chosen few. It's like the Jack of Spades, you know the soldier dude. Go to war on the track to leave you with a smoking groove. Ignore the laws of physics when I broke the rules and gave you something so solar scorching and polar cool.
Big wheels on my big truck, and I ain't bragging if I back it up. Just need a good luck, cause I ain't bragging if I back it up. I got big wheels on my big truck, and I ain't bragging if I back it up. Just need a good luck, cause I ain't bragging if I back it up. Back it up. Back it up. Back it up. Back it up.
What's the truth about Nirav Shah? Shah was appointed by a Republican mega-millionaire in Illinois and failed. Democrats called his mistakes the height of irresponsibility and negligence. That's not all. Shah worked for a union-busting firm that sides with big corporations over workers. Now, Shah is getting donations from Big Pharma, private equity, and super PAC spending from a group that wants to defund our public schools. It's a prescription for disaster for Maine working families. Don't rank Shah.
What is this?
That's a rug.
Did you buy this rug because the neighbors are coming?
Oh my god. Joe, you remember Peanut Hog?
Bit of a contentious environment in here, so I understand.
We love a contentious environment.
Got it bad, woo.
Innovate the flow, you can't mimic it. Sound never dies, echo unlimited. Promo rhyme, y'all high school scrimmaging. Part futuristic, part primitive, progressive. Still rooted in the history that makes the source of all truths. I don't give a damn how much you move units. Dragging y'all back to school like truants. Back in action, tag back then. Don't be surprised when I rhyme in Latin. Ipso facto, sharper than exacto knives. Happy to have our line. Cause I'm taking a 5 at a time. When you read more, don't even try to rhyme. Blessed with one other fine. This line don't listen to the heights that I'm gonna climb. You can wish you need a better man. All sunset like no other. You better can. Call your pussy thinking rookies and veterans. First time major, 11 grams.
I see you about to lose your mind. Can't breathe, there ain't no stopping the shine. Got it bad, got it bad. Got it bad, got it bad. I see you about to lose your mind. Can't breathe, there ain't no stopping the shine. Got it bad, got it bad. Ooh, got it bad, got it bad. And that ain't no crime.
Yeah, I'm for worker.
Always down for the cause, so I never starve. Hella bars, break them off, better than the regular. Get it, y'all, with a full plate you couldn't finish off. Even with the hinged off, boa constricted jaw. Big chick with a brain, need bigger draws. Make you spit a little game, try to hit it off. Take the bull by the horns, catch a minotaur. Make her shake off, put that lame in you with a bounce. Loud, tell me, shorty, are you found this? We can see what kind of mischief we get found in. They get the strumming and the beat just get the pounding, sounding like we're about to tumble down a mountain. They don't mind grinding on the ground. For my people, hit 'em one more time. We get down, playing music and it's so live. Playing live so you feel it about to blow your mind.
I see you about to lose your mind. Get free, there ain't no stopping the shine. Got it bad, got it bad. Got it bad, got it bad. I see you about to lose your mind. Get free, there ain't no stopping the shine. Got it bad, got it bad. Ooh, got it bad, got it bad. And that ain't no stopping the shine. Make you lose your mind. Ain't no stopping the shine. Make you lose your mind. Ain't no stopping the shine. Make you lose your mind. Ain't no stopping the shine. Make you lose your mind. Lose your mind.
You can make so much with butterball ground turkey. Almost everything. Turkey meatballs, yeah. Turkey enchiladas, turkey lasagna, dips, turkey bolognese. You won't even believe. Oh, wow. Care hard, cook easy. Yep.
And two different ones. They were really confused. Everyone agrees that those which would make sense why they have to do that when they have both things.
Feeling south, but you're warmer than your north face. It's all perspective, you the jockey of the horse race. Think you got it back while some are living off of your waist. Waiting like a music lover looking for that chord change. Game of life, this no fucking board game. We put in work and paid our dues before the tours bang. Back when we were barely eating, sleeping on the floor stain. Now we joining people all together like we ordained. Everybody's gotta make mistakes. Everybody's gotta feel heartache. Everybody's gotta love someone. Someone to realize it. To realize it. To realize it. To realize it. Psychedelic undertones that circulate my mind frame. Trouble comes my way, but I just phase it out like daydreams. Born in the 80s, but my heart lives in the 60s. In a meadow for the daisies, running naked with some gypsies, man. Have empty glasses overflow with expectations. I take opportunities and make them revelations. We all got the same 24, man. Life's inaudible. Call your own plays or you'll get played up like some pocket rules. Everybody's gotta make mistakes. Everybody's gotta feel heartache. Everybody's gotta love someone. Someone to realize it. To realize it. To realize it. To realize it. Spaced out and feeling high, but heads down, way out of what you've been faking. Now you're looking up at the sky, saying someone save me. Someone to realize it. Realize it. Realize it. To realize it. Someone to realize it. To realize it. To realize it. To realize it.
Can you install this?
Even had a few screws left over.
If it's important, it's not worth compromising. That's why with Farmers, you can get quality and savings.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
President feta cheese. So fresh. So
Like it was London Underground, 1980 on the steez. Sound system hits the units walking on the streets. A fast chat on good wax, tired of the mass tax. So we need some freedom, just one night to let the hate pass. Settle a bit with another quick game. Russian roulette when I'm rushing your brain. Coming around, you off it again. Do for me bad, you fucking insane. How was it made? Charlemagne, sword in the stone, pull it again. Shout it like an old school DJ. Pioneer play, we lose it like a madhouse without sedatives. We elements floating through the sky without our red wings and our medicine is heaven sending setting. And it's hella been irrelevant. Who you think you're letting in your party? We come through the vent. Free on the night. I need a little peace in my life. I need a little free on the night. You know it's gonna feel alright.
Under pressure, I'm rolling down my window, need some fresh air. I'm blowing out these rings, I leave my demons insane elsewhere. Cause I just need some freedom, a reason to get reckless. I'm starting to get restless, knock some buckets off my checklist. I'm rolling up my sleeves, my energy can be infectious. I'm climbing out the grave just like my heart's been resurrected. I finally feel alive again, my future's redirected. And I'm just moving forward, fuck the past, that shit's dissected. Yeah, it's my time right now, don't get it misunderstood. Cause that feeling's right and the vibe is good. I'm junior man like boys in the hood, takes me back to my backward hat. Old skate shoes in my Cadillac, lean in the cube, days confused, got dropped in a bottle full of molecules. So hot on the mic that I can't be stopped. Got what it takes, then take what I got, screen new, yeah, fresh from the box, gonna dig so deep. Like a rock, yeah, lost in thought, but I found my own. Lost my mom, but I found my zone. I'm tripping on your vibe and your a little bit of freedom tonight. I need a little peace in my life. I need a little freedom tonight. You know it's gonna feel alright.
You want freedom? Look in the mirror and say yes, master. Show no fear through disasters, way past the pasture. Stood trouble up and run fast with no capture. All smiles, miles from the flock in a perfect rapture. Keep happily adapting to the next chapter. Lost in peaceful thoughts, engulfed in laughter. They build the wall, but build the ladder. Help me up, where's your manners? Mix and blend as friends then scatter. So fragile, damage, shatter till nothing matters. Cut the chatter and adapt to listening. Envisioning better days, mentally rich as Benjamin. Still a slave to change. I'm free, a stow a parade. I feel liberated thanks to those who take the weight. A little bit of freedom tonight. I need a little peace in my life. I need a little freedom tonight. You know it's gonna feel alright.
got a bunch of questions really similar to that. So at that point, when people say long form or long sensitive, chronic, when it comes to different infectious diseases, you're even hearing it now with COVID, long COVID,
Inside RX bar.
Right, so I mean, what would be considered severe or extreme on the chart on a scale of 1 to 10?
Somewhere where the streets are paved in gold. You can lose your mind and then your soul. In Eldorado, in the El Camino, hanging out the window in the Pico, sipping Tito's, driving like an Adelito, acid like aminos. All we care about is
right. There was just a bunch of questions that came through, especially after yesterday, and saying, okay, so what would that entail if you say, oh, whatever goes along with chronic Lyme symptoms, long form? Because there's different symptoms depending on if you're in an infectious state, having an outbreak. And I just start to understand these things too, especially like a chemically induced states. You know, the mind, it's something you don't necessarily see, like a blister or a rash, like it's internal. Your brain is blushing, kind of a thing. Yeah, sure. Right, and so people with those long form symptoms and who have those extreme chemical imbalances. So we have found over the years, and I think a lot of other people too can attest to that, just based off of testimonies and studies and kind of what's been happening. Consensus says, oh my God. What? What are you I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, I was listening to a conversation a little bit. I mean, I wasn't really listening. I just kind of overheard it. I was in the vicinity and it just came into the airwaves, I guess. Yeah, it was like in a store kind of a setting. I had no idea what they were talking about. And I somehow address other things. You know what I mean? I have no idea what they were talking about. I shouldn't even speak on any matters. I have no idea. They might have been talking about fertilizer and gas. Yeah, it could have been a cloud story. I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't even know. You see, I saw. You saw what I saw. What I did. Try to tell them that. You better at least try. I know you have been. It's okay. There's a lot of use too, you know.
It's a ship.
Some seem to have a better attune.
It's nothing like any spacecraft I've ever seen.
Whatever you want to call it.
Humanity isn't alone in the universe, and I've just met our neighbors.
Do you know how many years you get rounds of people that just want to see for themselves? Oh, I I mean, for me to believe. Okay, test it out. Go ahead. Are we gonna keep doing that? That's what we're doing. I know, and then after years you finally realize, oh, that's just, I guess, what we're doing. Okay. It's fun. That's pretty cool. And then you're not. And still are. You still are what? What's a stillery? Fresh out.
The beat bangs while the banjo plays. On a mission for substantial papes. And lay up on a vacay in Central Pay. Honey, sipping the Tanqueray. Pass me the OJ. Cause it's the time that I rule the world like Coldplay. Trust me, I don't play. Really? You don't say. I'm not sure you know who you fucking with, Snowflake. Butterina's Lando Lakes. Hair blowing in the breeze like Lando's cake. Make sure you get your mans on tape, cause you don't wanna miss a single word that Rand's gonna say. You're just a gram away. I'm bringing tons of fun like Christmas Eve on Santa's sleigh. Quit slouching, boys, stand up straight. I'm here to set your mind free. Emancipate, come on.
This is a $2 menu. That's a $2 limit. So the one isn't scratched, so see this one's not scratched. It's ticket number 100. It must be a winning dog. Chances.
Know why I'm excited for bottomless apps for $9.99?
Why?
Finally have a reason to wear my bottomless chaps.
Whoa! You've been squatting. You've been doing squats.
Yes, I have been. Thank you. Bottomless apps for $9.99.
Eczema is unpredictable.
But you could flare less with Echoless. A once-monthly treatment for moderate to severe eczema that helps you spend less time managing your symptoms.
Echoless can deliver real and lasting results, like skin that's still more clear at 1 year.
Don't use if you're allergic to Echoless. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Echoless. Before starting Echoless, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Clear as skin. Itchy.
Once monthly dosing with or without topicals. You can flare less with Ebglyss. Talk to your doctor about Ebglyss for eczema.
Yeah, it's right on the road.
See when the henny's in my bloodstream.
Last night, everybody
opened his arms to hug me.
Stuff freaking goes down election
I
stage.
keep going till I pass. I don't wanna stop.
Probably gonna be gone.
Jealousy's an ugly word, and guess what? You's an ugly motherfucking word. You're hating on me cause I do the things you wish you could. You acting like you want beef, I wish a nigga would. I'm feeling good, cognac, bring my mojo back. You see you lie about your life and that's a no-no, Jack. You do what you do like you doing it for TV. I do it from the corazon, like my family fire home. People claim they love me and they care about me. See, that's a lot of truth is what they say when they went out, man. Who's real, who's plastic, fatherless? See, I'm a facet, but I keep it 100% real to the gas.
Keep rambling, no place to call my home. Can't do the city, people all around, but I still walk alone. Nobody gonna miss me when I'm
Friends come a dime a dozen, I want my money back. Cause I spent millions, matter of fact trillions. Through the years, shit, I ran across abuses. 90% of the chicks I dealt with were fluzes. 10% were good, but I will say no names, kid. Cause there was only one, shit, she knows who she is. Basically, y'all, I'm in this life alone. And the only true love comes from up above. And I'll be slipping up on the big homie. But I'm human, God, please reach down and hold me. Cause on earth, man, it's hard to keep a straight face. I know even you wonder why you made this place. People say, Tone, we love it when you fucked up. It's like you turn into a different person, that's what's up. Now that's some grimy shit to say to me, y'all feel me? It's like they singing that they don't like the real me.
I keep rambling, no place to call my home. Straight to the city, people all around, and I still walk alone. Nobody gonna miss me when I'm
That's a daisy. Daisy, Daisy.
Nobody gonna miss me when I'm
Yeah.
Your car deserves more performance with every drive. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline.
we can have some stillness on normal TV, that would be dreadful. Often people ask questions about manifesting, or the power of
Yeah,
not the power of now, the power of intention, and how does
Take
that
but a moment.
relate to the power of now? And about wanting, one person asked a question about what's the difference between wanting, continuous wanting, that I write about in A New Earth, always wanting or needing the next thing, and what's the difference between wanting and intention, intending to create something, and what is the importance of manifesting things in your life, or creating, or is that counterproductive, somebody asks. Maybe we should focus on something else, not on manifesting or creating. Now, there are many exciting books these days about creating and manifesting. The Secret, Teachings of Abraham, Channeled Teachings, and so on. And so often people ask, well, how does it relate to stillness and inner peace and acceptance of what is, and surrender to the present moment and living in alignment with now? Is there a conflict? Is one wrong or misleading or leading you into illusion? And so they ask and then expect me to answer. So this is an important question for almost everybody. Unless you've reached the age of 95, and then you can be almost sure that you're not really into manifesting anymore. Well, it's you've done that, been there, done that. And some people don't have to reach 95 before they have a feeling that my life does not need to be focused anymore on creating or manifesting. So it may have something to do with the stage, not necessarily chronological age. There's something to do with where you are at in your own life. But really your own life is a microcosm of the macrocosm. So if you look at the universe, the first thing you see that it likes to create and it likes to manifest. On this planet alone, the universe is continuously creating and manifesting countless life forms, millions of life forms. And then outer space, we can only assume We don't know what exactly is there, but there's a vastness of life out there, that's for sure, and probably many more life forms than we have on this planet, which is more than we can count. And the life forms, both in the sea and on land, including humans, they seem to enjoy a dance of coming into being and destruction. They eat each other up. If you're born in the sea, you go around. It's a transformational process, and this entity becomes you, and then suddenly something comes up from behind and gets you. And you become that entity. Continuous dance. And also, if you observe life on this planet, the universe also seems to manifest a conflict. And sometimes people say, oh, I don't want conflict. But if there were no conflict at all in your life, challenges and so on, what would that be like? Imagine going to a movie that has no conflict in it. Would that be interesting? Maybe. I doubt it. A movie in which nothing goes wrong. Everybody's perfectly fine all the time. No challenging people. Everybody is so conscious and nothing happens. Well, could try that. Maybe that's an idea for a script writer. Or maybe the script wouldn't be very long. How many people would come and watch that movie? Don't know. So you have that, by just looking, not having a theory about life, but just looking, you see that the universe loves to manifest. And also it seems to be the case that life forms over periods of time become more differentiated. Many more come. And even the human societies become more complex. We've had ancient civilizations that were quite complex, but probably our present civilization, if we can call it that, is the most complex, which of course includes problem-ridden also, that goes with complexity. It's full of, and every individual who is part of this civilization has a life that is full of problems because you live in a very complex civilization. So it produces complexity. I mean, computers just getting into, I can't get into that anymore. Maybe I've gone beyond that age. It's so complex, I cannot learn all this stuff that you need to know on computers. Boys can do it, 6-year-olds. To me, it's too complex. And the differentiation of the analytical mind, science, cutting every phenomenon up into little pieces. And then you have little pieces, and then each piece is cut up into further pieces. And the microscopes get bigger and bigger. Now let's examine that. And everybody's specialization gets narrower and narrower because you have to be, because there are thousands of people writing PhDs about your subject, so you have to have only a little corner. And then you have to take that out and then examine that, and then spend 3 years examining that. Complexity. Of course, complexity cannot go on forever. On some level, complexity at some point, if a tree grows too many branches, eventually suddenly a storm comes and most of it collapses. So the universe likes to create, to manifest, to experience the play of form. That's one movement. And you can see it in yourself. On some level, you enjoy that. Or you enjoyed it, or you still do enjoy it. And then there's something else in humans. You can only really see that perhaps in yourself, an inner phenomenon. The universe also wants something else. It wants not only to experience that manifested life, it also wants to experience peace and something that is not touched by the continuously fluctuating forms. It wants to know itself deeply, directly, in its essence, and that really is the root of spirituality, is that the universe not only wants the outward movement, it also wants the inward, the return movement to the one. And so every human being also embodies these two movements. And that seems, you are torn sometimes between the outward movement into form and the inward return movement to the source where it all started, but the source that was never really lost, that is still there because it's timeless. The source of all life is timeless and it's in you. And you feel drawn back to that, and that is the pull towards spirituality, peace, stillness, being rather than doing. And then you wake up the next day and you look in the shop window and say, oh, that looks nice. I need to get that. I'd like to do this, get that, achieve that. And then you get, okay, but on the other hand, I want peace also. It's the two exemplified by, perhaps, Eckhart Tolle exemplifies the return movement mostly. And you have Tony Robbins goes, it's that. And not one or the other is right or wrong. It's only perhaps if you totally lose yourself in one or the other, maybe that's not quite it, unless you live in a cave somewhere, and you can lose yourself in being. Is it possible, and perhaps this is a challenge of the universe here on this planet and perhaps on other planets, is the challenge to reconcile the two movements rather than have them separate, either one or the other. Is it possible to reconcile the inner movement towards stillness and being and the outer that wants action and doing? And I would say that it is, and that is our challenge at this time. Traditionally, let's talk about human doing and action first. Traditionally, it's been very unconscious what humans have manifested in this world. To a large extent, it's been unconscious. They have been identified with doing and identified with form, because form is about the outer, the creation of form and your own form and creating more forms. And so that has been going on ever since anybody can remember, recorded history and beyond. This identification with form and identification with doing. And we call that ego. Now what happens then is that the one consciousness that underlies everything, timeless, formless, the one consciousness moves into form, assumes forms, and enjoys the play of form. But it's not enough, it seems, for the one consciousness to enjoy the play of forms. It needs to completely believe in it to really make it real. It's not real, but to make it seem real, you need to lose yourself in that dream of form, the play of form. And this has happened to humans, so identified with the form that you believe yourself to be a separate entity. You have a life of your own. There is no such thing. But you can't, a life of my own doesn't exist. There's only life. And you are an aspect of that one life. But humans believe that I have a life of my own. And then others have their life. And of course that's, if I have a life, then of course one day I'm going to lose my life. Oh God, I'm losing my life. I lose my life. Who are you and who is life? You must be separate from life if you can lose your life. So who is saying I? It's not life? Who is that I? What is that I that says my life? Consciousness. The unmanifested, timeless one life. So every human then believes that they have a life of their own, and that means they identified with a form of life, that particular form of life, this particular physical body, this particular psychological life form, the thoughts, accumulation of thoughts, your past, your history, your viewpoints, and the emotions that go with these thoughts, feelings. It all becomes all part of that form identity. That's me, encapsulated form identity. And so consciousness is trapped or believes to be trapped in that. So we could say that in that state the universe or the consciousness has entered a dreamlike state. It wants to do that. It must enjoy that dream up to a point. Consciousness has entered that dreamlike state where it is completely identified with form. It doesn't realize that every other form is an aspect of itself. Every other form. And of course then you are just an isolated entity. It becomes quite unpleasant after a while. So you have to get together with other entities, and instead of having an I form, you have a we form, us. And that becomes encapsulated. It starts with a tribe of big family, or tribe, us. And all the others are totally weird and evil. It's people just beyond the mountains, another valley. You go there, oh, dreadful. That was quite common, and in some places still is, when people didn't get around that much. To the Greeks, or also the Romans, everybody beyond were barbarians. The word barbarian comes from trying to imitate the foreign language that those barbarians speak. So there comes then, and for a while that universe seems to be okay with that, to have consciousness identified completely with form, and then the movie goes on. You read history, world history, and that's the movie of what happens when consciousness is identified totally with form. And then comes a point when it's time for another stage to arise, where the dream of form is no longer, consciousness is beginning to awaken from complete identification with form. And that is happening to many humans, and this is why human beings are drawn to these two spiritual teachings, with the awakening from the dream of form. So who am I? What does it mean, I? What is identity? What does it mean when I say I? What does it feel like? What is I? What am I? Now, most people, yet if you ask them, who are you? They will define the word I in terms of form. They will say, well, obviously this body, that's I, that comes maybe first, and then there comes the mind with its accumulations, its accumulated, its habitual thought movements, its memories. They come the emotions that go with the thought movements, the psychological form of I. So they say, well, I am this body, then there's a name, which of course is just a sound. You say, John, I am John. And for many people they think that's already a big part of who they are, when they can say their name. And, oh, okay. And then they add a little something else. I'm an architect. Oh, okay, we're getting even closer to who you are. And I'm a father, which, okay, good. And your age, okay, something. Okay, we're almost there now, just need a few more details, and then we know who you are. And so you can put it on a piece of paper, a summary of it, or if you want a detailed account of who you are, you can write down your life history in a book, and it becomes your autobiography. Oh, that's interesting. Now we know who you are. And if that's not enough, and if you think there may be hidden parts of me, then you can go to psychoanalysis for 10 years, and then all these hidden memories and hidden desires and feelings that you had when you were 4.5 years old towards your mother and your father and your grandmother, and they all come up, and then you can add that, and then, okay, now I've got it, I've got my autobiography, and I go, that's I'm me, I'm complete now. And then you look 50 years later, which is not much on a universal scale. 50 years is very little, I know that now. I thought when I was 20, 50 years was a lot. I'm a lot older than 50, by the way, but the body. The 50 years pass, and what's left of the body and the psychological me, that entity in the head with its history, what's left? Nothing. Well, maybe there's 1 or 2 copies left of your autobiography, and maybe one person finds a copy in a second-hand bookshop. This is somebody's autobiography. And your children or their descendants. Well, my mother passed away 3 years ago, and I realized recently that I'm virtually the only person now who remembers her, because all her friends died before she did, and her family. And all the other people who knew her only knew tiny fragments. They told she was a little bit of an eccentric, and she was outspoken, and so on. They had little fragments, but the person who really remembers her more than a fragment is me. And when I go, nobody remembers her. And then all that's left is photos, and a generation later nobody will know who this person on the photo is. But this is strange how an identity evaporates that seemed so solid and real. And so form, we're talking about form identity. That is when you're asked, who are you? Or you ask yourself, who am I? Okay, now is that all there is to who you are? Is that what can be defined through form, what can be that which is form, thought forms, emotional forms, physical forms, a conglomeration of that to get put together for a while becomes what you think is I. Is that really your I, your identity? Or is there something else? Well, perhaps we can just, at this moment, see, as you sit here, right at this moment, you don't remember your past. You don't have to. Let's pretend you don't have one. You have no past. There is no past. Let's say there is no past. Which, by the way, is the truth. Ultimately, there is no past. There's only the now. So, okay. And no future. Let's pretend there's no future. Well, there is no future anyway, but, you know. There's only this. So you can't remind yourself, you don't even, unless there's a thought in your head that says, I am such and such, even that you don't know right now. Let's say you don't know anything about who you are. Nothing that you can formulate, conceptualize, call something. You don't. What is left? Is there, what is lost? Nothing is lost. In fact, when you encounter this, which cannot be named, which is a formless presence, aliveness, that's you've touched that which is beyond form, consciousness itself. And that is identity. That is where your sense of I comes from. And so you are more truly yourself when you don't remember your past than when you do remember your past. And you are more truly yourself when there's not a single thought in your head than when you are full of thinking about me and my problems. And whenever you feel this sense of I, the light of consciousness, which you can know directly in the stillness that is always there, available to you as the essence, your essence identity, timeless, that's always there, and that is one with universal consciousness. It's just coming through this form. It's never lost. When this form dissolves, the consciousness goes out like a little tentacle. Being. So, let's stay with this for a moment here. You have no past, or there is no past. What is lost? Nothing essential is lost. You get a stronger sense of who you are in your essence when you are not telling yourself in your mind who you are. This is why I said in Stillness Speaks, I believe, you are never more truly yourself than when you are still. And still means, of course, the mind has become still. It's an inner. Doesn't, whether there's noise outside or not, doesn't matter. You're never more truly yourself than when you are still. Then you can sense the essence of who you are. And that does not depend on the age of the body, whether you're 20 or 90, it's the same stillness. That frees you then from the suffering that comes if you have identified with form, which then sooner or later will leave you. You suffer. If you identify with a strong or beautiful body, and that body eventually grows old, you begin to suffer because you seem to dissolve. You haven't realized who you are. And so you have form identity and essence identity. And suffering arises through knowing yourself only as form identity. My history, my story, my body, my past, my this, my that, my that's whatever you identify with in the world of form. If you know yourself only as that, that's the state of unconsciousness, the dreamlike state. Consciousness is dreaming the dream of form. And then it acts attempting to become free of its inner state of incompleteness, dissatisfaction, and fear, which is inevitable when all you know is your form identity. There's always underneath the surface, or even very much on the surface, there is dissatisfaction, fear, unease, discomfort, fear. I am not enough. This is not enough. This is not the right place where I am now. This is not the right people I'm with. This is not the right thing that I'm doing right now. There comes the need to go out and search for more forms that I can identify with so that I can feel more complete. But the only way you can actually reach the state of being at home in being rooted in yourself without the dissatisfaction that always comes again and again and again, and without the fear, the only way is encountering that which is beyond form. And it's so much. It's right here. It's closer. It's God's realization. It's another word for it, but let's not go there. The God within, the timeless within. And so the universe then has all the people who are into creating traditionally have been very unconscious, because those who were most identified with form had the strongest desire to manifest and create more things out there and conquer an empire or accumulate more and more possessions or have more power. So they got driven So all the powerful people, the people who created human history, if you read the history books, they were deeply identified with form. And they're all unhappy, of course. Very unhappy, hoping by achieving this, that, or the other, and conquering this, that, or the other tribe, or whatever, to become free of their state of unhappiness and of incompleteness, and never getting there. And that's been, so traditionally the doers, there were always some people who were not into doing, but in many traditional societies there wasn't much of a place for them. Later monasteries came into being, so they could become monks. Long story, but so we still associate going out and doing with unconsciousness. I believe there's a line by T.S. Eliot in a poem where he says, "The best lack all conviction, and the worst are full of passionate intensity," talking about contemporary humanity, early 20th century. The best lack all convictions means that they don't know what to do. Because they're torn between, there's some inkling of inside them of their essence. So they're not, the desire to do is not as overpowering as in those who are totally identified with their form identity. So that's an interesting, that where we are at as humanity as a whole is a realization that there is an essence that has nothing to do with the form. And only if we are rooted, if some of our attention is in that formless essence, can we do things in this world without creating more havoc and suffering for others and ourselves. If we only go into doing without the rootedness in the eternal dimension, which is stillness, which is here now, always now, inseparable from now, whatever you do, and you lose yourself in the doing, identified again with form, and creating some new problem. So the foundation for all doing is conscious being. So that's the important realization about what about manifesting. That's good, but before we talk about manifesting, before we build some new building or structure, get the foundation first. Do you have the foundation? Don't start building a house without any foundation. Let's manifest this great business empire. This is going to change the world. Yes, but have you laid the foundation? What foundation? Being. Being? The formless, the eternal. No, we haven't thought about that. No, of course you haven't. You can't think about it. The foundation is being rooted, realizing what that means, what being is, not intellectually, not by trying to understand, because as you may have noticed, there's nothing much to understand about being. You can't. Being. Can you explain a bit more, please? Being. Stillness. I don't understand stillness. Can you explain stillness? No, because there's nothing in it to explain. You can't look at it under a microscope or dissect it. Aspects of stillness, PhD. So the human needs to find his or her timeless and formless essence identity. That's the foundation. If you haven't that, forget about manifesting or creating. You just create more trouble. It's okay. Then you're at the stage where the universe still likes to create trouble. That's okay. And I'm not saying you find that which is so closer to you than hands and feet, the stillness, the formless consciousness itself, without which there would be no sense perception and no thought and no feeling. That it's the light in which everything appears, that which the life within the form. And that's always there, as your S right here. It knows itself here. It's not that I know it. It is I. I am it. I and it are one. I know myself. Sounds like two again, but that's because we're using language. I know myself. I know I. The I knows itself. So this is the end of all differentiation and complexity, because you're going back to the timeless, unmanifested source of all life. There's no complexity in that at all. Depths, yes, infinite depths. The vastness, as vast or vaster than the outer space, it's inner space. The vastness of that inner spaciousness. So what you thought of as I is a tiny, tiny bit, and underneath there's the vastness that is as vast, although not an extension, as outer space, which is an externalization of who you are within. The vastness of inner space. People don't know to what extent they have reduced their own reality to this little entity that runs around the surface of the planet for a few years and then evaporates. And of course that's the form, but what is it that animates that form? The foundation is not something that you find, say, okay, I've got it now, and then you forget it again, and then you start getting worried about the next thing you have to do, and identified with every thought that comes again and reacting. And you lost not these. The secret is to stay connected with the being while you do. And then whatever you do is conscious doing, not unconscious unconscious creation of form, but conscious creation. And maybe you'll do much less than you would have done before, but it's more powerful, very different kind of doing. Conscious doing and conscious manifesting, if that's what happens through this form. Foundation comes first and remains primary. Being needs to remain in your life, whether or not you are engaged in a lot of doing or not. Being is primary. If you lose touch with being, you lose yourself in your mind and you lose yourself in doing, and you don't want to do any good for anybody, really. And it may well be that the universal consciousness may use you, and you do something that is then in alignment with this new stage that is arising on the planet, and that is conscious creation, co-creation. Before the universe created, unconsciously And now through the human form, there's a possibility that the universe can create consciously. In that sense, all those books and teachings are quite exciting that tell you that there is an important relationship between your thoughts and so on and the outer reality, and that thought creates form. Yes, this is true. Thought creates form. And it's exciting that if humans can fully realize that, and then fully realize their power, of their creative power, which is vast, as unlimited, eventually they'll know that, as the universal creative power, because humans and the universe are not separate. You are an aspect of the universe. You are the universe, expressing itself as this form. So it's wonderful, creative power is there, but it's not the wanting power that is to answer the question that somebody asked. What about this wanting, needing, comes from a state of dissatisfaction and insufficiency. Now, Buddha called it desire. And the Buddha, of course, said, become free of desire, and then that's the end of suffering. He looked at humans and he saw that there was this unconscious reaching out continuously for wanting. He called it desire. I call it wanting is a more direct term that you can actually feel. I want, I need, I must have. Now this is still very much in many humans there, the identification with form that results in continuous wanting, and it keeps a lot of our economic system going. Advertising depends on humans who are identified with form. It does not mean that when you know your essence, you cannot enjoy form anymore. That you will say no more. Maybe some humans might do that. But again, there's a possibility of living in balance with form. You can enjoy all the forms around you and even create new forms without any sense that this is mine, or any sense of attachment or any identification with the form. And only then can there be true enjoyment of forms and beauty. But then the compulsive nature of your relationship with form will go. The compulsive running to shopping malls the day before Christmas and then running to shopping malls again the day after Christmas because they've reduced the prices even more or whatever. It's amazing. Before Christmas they're all running, and then after Christmas it's even cheaper. I must have. That's not the true enjoyment of form. You can enjoy form by looking at a shop window and say, oh, beautiful. Well, what do you want to buy it? No. Or you might buy it and then it's in your house for a while and it's beautiful, beautiful. And then maybe the next day you arrive and a burglar has been there and it's gone. Oh. And it may only be in that moment that you know whether you were attached or not. Because you might have had it in your home and said, I'm not attached at all. But when you get home the next day and the burglar has taken it, then you'll know whether or not that was true, what you thought, that you were not attached. That's a good test. So we need to then, doing and stillness need to be in balance. Now it does not mean that you separate your life into one part of your life as you sit still, and in the other part of your life you run around That's not the balance. The balance is when the two are fused together. And even while you're walking around the shopping mall, not running around the shopping mall, walking, you can be in stillness as you look around. Perhaps you go with the convention of buying Christmas presents, or maybe you don't. Doesn't matter. If you do, okay, let's see what I can find. Still, bring the stillness into the shopping mall. Let it come with you into the shopping mall. Just to give one example in the North American context. Or the bazaar, or whatever, if you're somewhere else. And see if you can, even while your attention flows out, have some attention within. To feel the background of aliveness or stillness. As I always point out, the beginning of that is feeling the inner body, the aliveness within the body. That's the doorway into the formless. You're already moving into the formless. Feel the alive. The body is alive. No, it's alive. It must be alive. But can you feel that it is alive? And that's life energy. It's the bridge between formless and form. And there it is. And then, if you can walk around a city, well, here you don't walk, but you drive around. If you drive around the city, can you drive with not too much thinking, just presence? Or walk around to the shopping mall and just look. You bring a stillness in wherever you go, and then when you have to think, you think. You can pick up the phone and say, oh, I found something nice, maybe should I get this for my mum or dad, whatever. Bring always the two dimensions. That's the most vital thing. And then you can also look into manifesting, but then the question is, what is it that wants to manifest through this form? It's no longer, this is what I want, the surface I. What is it that wants to manifest through this form? Very different. And you may not know that immediately. There may be a time period when you don't know exactly what to do with your so-called life, which is not yours, just a conventional way of speaking. There may be, for a while, you don't know what to do with your life, and so you're just there, being as still as possible, do your whatever activity you're already doing, but bring stillness into it, presence into it. And then at some point, either the realization of what it is that you need to do, that wants to be done through you, comes either from the outside. Somebody tells you something, or you wake up one morning and, this is what I have to do. And then you start taking action. Always making sure you're not so attached to the outcome that you think it's more important than the present moment. An action can become egoic when you lose yourself. It becomes egoic when you lose yourself in the doing. And a good sign or good criterion is when something happens that is against seems to be an obstacle. A person or situation say, I want to do this or achieve that, and suddenly somebody says, no, you can't do that. No, they won't allow you to do that. No, or a situation becomes a challenge, it's difficult, it's blocked, you want to go. Somebody says, no, you're not qualified to do that, you shouldn't do that, it's not allowed, whatever. You need this and that, which you don't have to achieve. Obstacles come all the time. If you get upset, that means the ego is back in the doing. When obstacles come, you go, if you're not upset, you're still present and you look at whatever the obstacle is, and you look at it with this penetrating gaze of presence, which is stillness also. You look at whatever the obstacle arises, you bring this penetrating stillness to it, and that is like a light shines on it. And then that dissolves the obstacle, or it shows you a way around it. That's the power of consciousness. It always happens. Either it shows you how to get around it, or it shows you how to use the very force of the obstacle, and you turn it around. If the obstacle is wanting to go this way, and you go with it I'm just demonstrating now, something counteracts what you want to do. It's coming this way, you want to go that way, but you don't meet it head on and start complaining, saying, no, this shouldn't be happening. No. Perhaps you go with it for a little while, and you go, and then you turn it around. And the very power that was against you then works for you, and you achieve your goal through that. It happens, and this is the wisdom that comes with non-resistance. So whenever you go into this conscious doing, resistance always pulls you back into unconscious doing. It can easily happen because it's an old habit pattern, unconscious doing. Inner resistance to whatever arises in the present moment pulls you back. Inner resistance is some form of negativity, some form of complaining, some form of fear, aggression, anger. And this is important because whenever you complain about what somebody else does, that you're already beginning to fall into that trap of unconsciousness. No, and of course, you meet lots of people who are still trapped in ego, and they may not like what you do, but just no judgment. Just look at what the situation. They say this, they want that, you want that, and they don't say, oh, they're dreadful. I know what he wants to deceive me, and he always does that. He wants to go. Just clear. This is the situation. This is what he says he wants. This is where I want to go. And see. Okay. Never any judgment of a person or situation. Just clear seeing, clear facing. This is the power. It's like a light beam of consciousness that falls onto, illuminates that situation, that moment, that person. That's the power of consciousness. No resistance. Jesus already talked about the power of non-resistance, and that the moment resistance comes, you're drawn back into identification with form. Protection, resistance, fighting. Are you going to succeed all the time in this? No, it's a shift from a way of doing that has been with us for thousands of years and a new way of doing that is only arising now. So you are transitional beings between the old consciousness and the new, and don't judge yourself if you fall back occasionally into the old consciousness, but you will quickly know it. How will you know it? You begin to suffer. You get upset. You get upset about situations. You get upset about people. You get upset about what somebody said. You get upset about what somebody should have said but didn't. You get upset about what somebody did or failed to do. Oh, there's a sign that you've fallen back. Beautiful line in the Course in Miracles. I am never upset for the reason I think. Now, upset is a generic term. Could be any in any way that you're out of alignment with isness, there's a disagreement with the isness of the present moment, and then you become upset. Now, many people are upset a lot of the time, but they don't realize they are upset. And if you talk to them and say, "Why are you upset?" they say, "I'm not upset, I'm just bloody angry." Or, "I'm not upset, I'm deeply hurt because he didn't invite me to his birthday party." Deeply hurt. Not upset. I'm never upset for the reason I think. Now, the deeper meaning of this, of course, is you are upset because you have lost awareness of being, your essence, identity. And the reason you think is superficial. If when you lose connectedness with being, just wait a few minutes and something or somebody will upset you. And so if we believe that that which seems to cause the upset is the actual cause, this is not the case. These are interchangeable, could be anything. And it will. So you'll be upset many times every day. By other people, by situations, by the slightest things or the biggest things. Upset by the entire world is so frustrating. So that's a little sign then. If you're upset, you want to go somewhere, but people are not cooperative. Situations are not cooperative. And you can talk to yourself. So that's a good sign then. You can use, also shows you to what extent the ego is active in you, because what's upset is not you, it's the ego in you. The ego is the erroneous identification with form, a false sense of I, which wanted something to make itself feel more at ease or bigger or more important or whatever, and is frustrated in its aims. Well, that's a good, then it's like a little, if you had a little, it's almost like having a little technical device on your arm that tells you whenever your ego comes back, it goes bleep, 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 bleep. You don't need that. Well, if somebody here is a technical wizard and is going to invent it, it's fine. But you don't need that, because all you need is to know if you're upset or not in everyday life. Now, for many walking egos, upset is their normal state. They might not even know it anymore because they're upset virtually all the time. And just waiting for some other thing to happen to explain why they are upset again. But of course there's the underlying dissatisfaction is always there. Foundation then is stillness. That's the return journey. So can we be then simultaneously in the return journey to the source of all life, spiritual dimension, God, stillness, and still be active in this world. And then, if we are that, what we then do in this world becomes empowered by the intelligence that emanates from the source. And then the source creates through you. no longer, the power of the source is then no longer distorted by the ego, and its power greatly diminished to a trickle. So the source is like light, you can say sunlight wanting to shine through fully. But for a long time it's become reduced to a tiny little hole. And there's a little bit of light coming through just to keep you going. And now it can come through and use you. When we use language, we always create duality. So when I say it uses you, it's not quite true because you are it. But language does that. It uses, that's then, once we know that it's okay, we can use those words. It uses you then. Now, what exactly it wants, I don't know. Perhaps it simply wants to create beauty or forms that are alive and joyful and enjoy that. It's enjoyed the drama for thousands, hundreds of thousands of years. It's enjoyed the drama of people cutting each other to pieces and eating each other up. It's enjoyed the drama. The movie is changing now. And perhaps it's creating a much more pleasant movie. And who knows what is in store for us. I cannot predict the future. I'm not particularly interested. The present moment is wonderful enough. But there's a change happening. And of course there comes a point in your life when you may not, the source may become much more important than whatever you do. So you reach a time when you say, well, I've done this and that, and it's been wonderful. And then all you're just still, and you emanate that stillness. And even then you affect the world around you without any doing. If you just be there, and whoever you come into contact with, there's some, almost, one could say, transmission, even if they don't notice it. You can do that, and some humans perhaps will mostly live in that way. How much doing you do, how much varies from form to form, person to person. Some will be very active and into conscious doing and create and enjoy the creation. And others may do relatively little, or may just continue to do what they're doing already, but whatever they're doing will be a vehicle for consciousness or stillness that flows into it. This power, this beautiful energy that flows. It could be even a person who just gives information. Let's say you work at an airport and you give information to people. And maybe you stay there, and then everybody who comes to ask, where's gate number 16, you say, well, you go that way, and it's only about a 3-minute walk. And there were not only the words, there was a transmission of stillness with the words. Not in the sense that I am going to transmit stillness, no. It happens because you let go of the sense of doing, of I do. It happens. And the person, this one traditional word for it is blessing. The person goes away being blessed with that energy. And so, beautiful. So what you do really is secondary. Some may do great things. Others may do things that look on the surface not so significant. And ultimately, what you do is secondary. But how you do it is primary. When the how means the consciousness that flows into what you do. Or if you're working with your hands again, it can also happen that how do you put together this piece of wood and this piece of wood? There can be presence that flows into the doing, and that's beautiful, and that expresses itself in the final product. If something is made in the state of presence, then it contains energetically, it contains quality. Now there are perhaps quite a few things in this world that are not at all conducive to presence. Maybe it could be certain things that are extremely repetitive. Even that perhaps is possible, but let's say you're in a factory and all you do every day is, well, probably by this time you probably will have been replaced by a machine anyway, but there are certain things, or you live in an office environment that is so insane that when you bring stillness into it, there is an incompatibility with your surroundings that will result in your dismissal or will result in your walking out. But if there is even the slightest compatibility, if it's not 100% insane, the environment, if it's only 90% insane, then there may be a possibility that if you bring stillness to it, this alert stillness, you walk into the office and you listen and you're alert and you answer the phone and you go to the committee meetings where everybody is, and you sit there and listen to everybody. You don't say, oh, everybody's insane. You know they're insane, but you don't say it mentally. They're not insane in their essence, that is on the surface. And you are there as the still point. It doesn't mean you can't speak anymore, but you embody the being, the rootedness in being. And then it is possible, if it's only 90%, the environment is only 90% insane, some change is possible. And perhaps the one or two people will be changed by their interaction with you, and a shift happens in them. Or if it's a meeting, suddenly there's a change in energy in the room. Or suddenly you're the only person who says something meaningful and suddenly everybody listens. Oh. Or your silence is enough to bring some harmony to the surroundings. Many ways in which this can affect the outer world. And even if you stay at home and all you do every day is water the plants in the garden and make a cup of tea and look around at the beauty like a little child, but with a depth that is perhaps not yet there in the child, a depth of non-conceptual knowing, then at this you are a point where the universe is contemplating its own creation and knowing its own beauty and its sacredness and its aliveness through you. And that's enough for a fulfilled life, isn't it? That's enough. The mind is in, yes, but I should be doing something meaningful. That is meaningful. And for some people, that is how they contribute to the shift in consciousness, by being a point of consciousness through which the universe sees its own sacredness, its own beauty, where the flower recognizes its own beauty, because the flower doesn't know it's beautiful. It needs you to perceive it and respond to it and go, not call it anything, but go, Well, really, there is no ultimately separation between you and the flower. It's a single field. So when you contemplate the flower becomes conscious of itself through, it's one consciousness. And so if you provide that, that's a wonder, that's the universe waking up through this form to its own sacredness and beauty and aliveness and depth. And all you do is walk around the garden every day and make a cup of tea. It's wonderful. And if occasional thoughts come, maybe thoughts that come will say, wow, I made all that. You become like God, says, and God saw it. He rested on the seventh day, and he saw that it was good, or something like that. At the end of May, he saw that it was good. See the goodness of all that. And so it varies. You maybe, I call, one word I have for that, which I used in New Earth, a person who is not called to do very much, is frequency holder, because what you do is not a doing. You hold the frequency of that consciousness of presence, and you don't have to do anything. You just hold the frequency by embodying it, by embodying presence. That's a fulfilled life. Every moment is fulfilled. And who knows, it could be that you do that for 2 years, and one morning you wake up and suddenly something wants to be done, and suddenly you start doing something, and you pick up the phone and said, we're going to do this, a huge enterprise where everybody can come and to experience beauty and healing and so on. I'm going to transform my garden into a healing center, and I'm going to, maybe not. One person asked the question, it is connected with this, somebody who is fully awake, would they still have a personal identity? And of course we know the answer by now. You are in touch with your essence identity, and the person can still operate. You have the two dimensions. You have your personal identity, but you are not lost in your personal identity. You know that it is not ultimately who you are. It is only temporarily who you are on the surface, but not who you are in your essence. And so in that sense, no, you still have a personality, but you are not possessed by your personality. It still operates, and you can function normally. You don't need to look weird, but if you do, that's fine also. You certainly have no desire to stand out and say, I am special. Of course, then you would have fallen back into some form identity. There is something to be careful of, which is called the spiritual ego, one could say, and that is the identification with form coming back even sometimes to people who are able to periodically go into the stillness and feel the power and be that, and then they come out again, and then the old ego pattern reasserts itself, and it remembers the beauty of stillness and the power of stillness, and then it says, oh, I am very special. more special than you, well, it may not say that in words, because the ego at that stage can be very subtle, so it doesn't say more special than you, but there's just a sense of superiority that can creep in easily, the sense of me. And again, one needs to be careful. Any kind of conceptual identity that you really believe in is another trap, being trapped in form. Ultimately, you're only yourself fully when you have virtually no concept in your head of who you actually are. Now, that doesn't mean when somebody asks me, when I go somewhere, whatever, across a border somewhere, somebody says, well, what do you do, what's your profession, or what do you do? I don't complicate things by saying, I don't do, or I just be. And so it's good if you have a little concept that you can give to a person. If the situation requires it, you can say, I'm such and such, and then they believe you. Don't say I'm a spiritual teacher when you cross a border. Teacher is okay, spiritual teacher. And of course, you're not a spiritual teacher, and I'm not a spiritual teacher, because that's another form identity. If then you believe I am a spiritual, that's who I am. Okay, and then the next moment when I go do my shopping, I'm no longer a space of alert presence in the supermarket, but I carry around.
You see what the robot did, Pat? In China, there's some event happening, and this Chinese robot was wearing a clown outfit. See, Pat, I guess he's look at that little kid with the picture. He's doing karate. Then look, he's the kid in the suit. Nobody cares. No parent.
Alexa, volume 4. It's a beautiful day.
It's kind of hazy at the moment. It's nice.
Yeah, I just made a freshly ground hazelnut coffee. Sure hope so.
Let me tell you another heartfelt story here, Vinny. I'm going to come to you first. So we have a story that came out. YouTuber Jesse Ridgway and wife made difficult decision to terminate pregnancy after Down syndrome diagnosis came out, and it was a gut punch, okay, when this story came out. So, gut punch for them. So here's the story, okay. This was the baby of the YouTuber that apparently came out, and they found out, and Rob, Vinny, were they at first celebrating just the reason why it actually ended their pregnancy, explaining why in a serious post on YouTube? Is this the video of them? This is them celebrating. Yes. Go ahead. They found out that they were pregnant. So this is them finding out they're pregnant, not that they know the kid's down. Okay, go for it. Go ahead.
Okay, read that. There's a faint line right there.
Where's the instruction? Why is this complex? Where's the like pregnant, not pregnant?
So positive, 2 strong lines, or strong line and a faint.
Nobody in particular, just an alive.
I got an open mind, like a
golden child. You try to go for points, I try to go for style. I do my city pride, I try to keep it wild. Ichiban, wicked one, Okinawa loud. I drink Guinnesses and go to dinner with my nemesis. Have a couple laughs while they plot how to finish this. Interested on how to get up on a wizard list. Senseless, you sense I'm the sensei apprentices, huh? I'm the salt up in the cut, huh? Who you trying to play but us? Huh? Like a DJ turning stuff. Who you trying to fool? We all know that shit's unplugged, yeah.
Catch me in the mood. I ain't too cool for records. Really Stoners on the loose. Call that shit a hippie flip. And we just getting going. Yeah, this shit's just my starter kit. I'm on a good one, real fucking good one. I'm feeling brand new. Yeah, I'm talking Rita. They're talking about me, talking about the real one. I'm out with Jenny, tossing rocks at the building. Hottest on all that shit. So fly, call me pilot. MCs get a tourniquet. Body bag that murder it. This evidence is evident. We stampede in elephant. We crash out. I'm king bitch. Y'all bitches soft like ligaments. Can disarm an army. Said it's hard to stop me. I'm far from Arby. Bus when a bus pucks.
It's the human equivalent of a heat-seeking missile. Yeah, exactly, Martin. You talked a lot about the Gaza Strip, about Hamas. They just announced that they will not disarm of their weapons. I mean, that was the whole point.
All of the time that you tried to off me, the tables are turned and now the music is off beat. You wanted me back so you can kiss me softly. I'd rather jack off in a sock with some hot tea. I'm over and out, but like a walking talkie. I'm leaving now, bitch. Try to stop me.
Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline removes up to 100% of performance-robbing deposits. More protection, more power.
The one decision that I'm most proud of
Long hair don't care about nothing, man. Out here all day head hunting, yeah. Make way when you hear me come storming, man. Sounds so good, got your head red rumming, yeah. Listen to me now, listen to me carefully. And I'ma tell you about the birds and the honeybees. Learn to hear your one life university. And getting low ain't nothing what it used to be. So I get higher than a motherfucker all day just to keep it cool, yeah, doing this shit my way. And I don't care for the ones who don't care for me. Have a bitchy summer, man. Thanks for the memories. Listen to me now, listen to me real good. People out there ain't living like they should now. And I get higher than a motherfucker all day just to keep it cool, yeah, doing this shit my way. Now I'ma do whatever I want. I'ma do whatever I like. I'ma do whatever feels good. Yeah, I'ma do whatever feels right. Always before you cross the line. There's no turning back the hands of time. Coming maybe too long. Gonna hit the ground running, gotta move on. It's a new day, yeah, it's a new dawn. I need some new shit, yeah, I need a new song. Been a long time coming, and I'm out here staring at the sky, asking why with my hands out. Now I'm higher than a motherfucker all day, just to keep it cool, yeah, doing this shit my way. I'ma do whatever I want. I'ma do whatever I like. I'ma do whatever feels good. Yeah, I'ma do whatever feels right. Always before you cross the line. There's no turning back the hands of time. End of the day, feeling right. I'll be on my way to the end of the night. I'm on my own in the darkest sky. I'll be on my way on through the night. Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me. Look both ways before you cross the line. There's no turning back the hands of time. End of the day, feeling right. I'll be on my way to the end of the night. I'm on my own in the darkest sky. I'll be on my way on through the night.
It's so peaceful on the water.
Got your dry bag?
Right here.
All right.
This is for my people out there feeling like they black sheep, running from the wolves that are nipping at your back feet. Leather jacket, pocket knives, fencing in the back streets, burst into flames like a match to a gas leak. Only thing that kept me back in school was art class. Had a friend with the black flag armband. He said it's cool if they all don't understand you. Just be yourself. You know what you're here to do. There's the haters, there's the bullies, there's the know-it-alls, but they just hate the faults, so they just hate us all. It's irrelevant if they go big and talk, cause we're just tiny ants out in space on a giant ball.
Hate 'em, wait 'em, go throw some shade on 'em. Hate 'em, wait 'em, go throw some shade on 'em. Wanna call me weak 'cause you think you're strong.
Doesn't make it feel good.
Wanna shut me up 'cause you think I'm wrong. Doesn't make me feel good.
Yes,
Doesn't make me wrong. Sometimes I wonder why I can't understand. My head keeps running like a river over troubled sand. And I'm just thinking of these reasons you would do me wrong. I can't think of one, I guess we all got our opinions. And I'm just out here trying to be good and do right. Trying to do things in my life. You just love causing me strife. Keep my eyes closed, my head down, pass straight, my mind clear. My energy stays vibrant 'cause I'm vibing on that right shit, yeah. motion holding me down. Only way out of here is up. Y'all too busy sticking around for me. Hate on 'em, wait on 'em. Go throw some shade on 'em. Hate on 'em, wait on 'em. Go throw some shade on 'em. Walk home and weak 'cause you think you're strong. Doesn't make you feel good. Wanna show me out 'cause you think I'm wrong. Doesn't make you feel good.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us live at 8 o'clock. We are following breaking news in Northeast Portland. Portland police say they are dealing with an armed suspect with a hostage. The suspect and victim are believed to be inside an apartment. This is along Northeast 122nd Avenue near Northeast Multnomah Street.
Police are asking people who live in the area to shelter in place. CERT and the crisis negotiation team are responding to the scene. We have a reporter headed that way right now, and we'll bring you updates as soon as we get them. Meanwhile, for a look at how this is impacting traffic in the area, Chris McGinnis has a look at that.
Busy time in the morning to have a major thoroughfare shut down here. Again, we're 122nd block just south of Halsey, basically between Halsey and Gleason. So let's bring it up on the map here, show you exactly where we're talking about. Your best bet to get around this is probably 102nd to the west or maybe 148th to the east. All these other streets, there are obviously some local streets that cut through between Halsey and Gleason, but they're smaller, they're residential areas, and obviously with kids walking to and from school and whatnot, that's probably a better bet to use 102nd. Again, as Matthew and China mentioned, we've got a reporter headed to the scene, and we hope to have more details on this situation coming up in the next little bit.
Living a life is connected with suffering, psychological suffering, mental suffering, and this is that.
Some things can't be rushed, like getting just 3 ingredients exactly right. We poured our expertise into every bottle. Now it's yours to blend, pour, and stir in. New Blue Diamond Almond Milk from the Almond Experts.
Your friends think you have a car problem. Perhaps it is your friends who are the problem. It's never just a car. Bring a trailer.
I was barricaded at the Capitol on January 6th. I saw it firsthand. I'm George Wood. We can't go back to a broken system. I can't stand idly by as Trump rips away healthcare. ICE is terrorizing our streets, and billionaires buy elections.
What that is so chilling is I don't think you have mate. So it was treating this person who's saying that he's been injured as if he's a violent suspect, like he's not resisting arrest or attempting to get away, and she handcuffed him to move him to a position that I wonder if that may have accelerated his death to move him in that position where his face is now kind of on the ground. You can hear him a bit gurgling.
Right, we're not forensics experts, but it seems like it probably did in that last kind of moment.
And the more details that the public have learned from the case, because there was a trial recently involving not just the killer, but the killer's mother, they're disturbing to say the least, in that it didn't just involve the killer. I mean, the deceased man, his mother took the knife that was used to kill Henry Novak away from the scene. She hid it at the family home along these other ceremonial religious daggers. And so there's a lot of discussions going on in the UK, not just about two-tier policing, which has been an ongoing accusation now for several years, going back to the 2024 Southport mass stabbings of these British white girls by a man of African heritage. And there's a perception amongst many working class white English people that the policing guidance and instruction is to treat whites with suspicion, and that perception is now buttressed by some of the evidence that's come out in the official guidance for policing training materials in England and Wales. People, the public never looked into these materials before, but now they're starting to, because they're just wondering. There seems to be a pattern of disparate treatment, and literally in one of the training manuals for anti-racism, it adopts a Ibram X. Kendi style approach to racial equity, and it tells police, this is, I'm like almost quoting it verbatim, to not be colorblind, and to not treat everyone the same. So when you have that as part of official police guidance, of course, the public's going to wonder now, did that play a role in the callousness and the credulity of the police towards the assailant's family's false claim of being victims of racist attack? It was a lie.
Right. So there's you brought up several different things here. There's so many things here from sort of the bird's eye view of it, Shermichael. We're used to seeing versions of this from an American perspective of where the race is black and white. Now this is a little more complex in some sense because he's Sikh, he's not black, he's not Arab, it's not about Muslim or anything else, but everything sort of gets muddled as it comes through the news. Well, first off, why don't I ask you, because you're a news guy first, I mean, what do you make of the coverage or lack thereof from an American perspective?
I'm actually a bit surprised. Even conservative outlets didn't pick this story up until now. And perhaps that should cause us all to be a bit critical of the media landscape in general. Maybe the story isn't sensational enough, I suppose. Maybe because it's not in the US. Maybe that's why producers decided not to cover it. But as a firearms guy, the first thing that I think about, Dave, I've done a lot of work with law enforcement in the U.S., special operators, U.S. Marshals, etc. And these guys, to me, appear to be derelict in their duty. One of the first things you do is you have a duty to render care. And this kid, or young man, I don't know his exact age, 23, I think, visibly distraught physically, and said, "I'm stabbed." And the first thing the officer should have done, where were you stabbed? Let us take a look. Because that would have immediately told them we should not move him. We should immediately call for EMS. You probably shouldn't put him in handcuffs because you don't want to further cause distress, which to Andy's point could theoretically cause him to weaken, to be more emotionally heightened and physically stressed out. That could cause him to pass on a lot quicker because of adrenaline, etc., in a weakened state, not to get into all the biology of this. But just looking at it merely from that perspective, I don't even think you have to consider the guy saying this white guy attacked my brother who's a Sikh. To me, that's a moot point. Right. You have an obligation to render aid, and aid was not rendered. And so as a news guy, I'm looking at this saying, why aren't we talking about this? What's going on in the UK where they're not training their police officers to say whatever the facts may be? This is a human being who may be at risk of dying. But you're going back to reverting to some training that says you should look at certain people because of skin complexity or tones, and that should be the guise that you use to judge what you do once you arrive to the scene. If that were to happen in the United States of America, people would be outraged, Dave, because it's a person who was clearly attacked, whether they instigated it or not. You don't let people die. And so to me, as a Christian, there's a moral component here that is just atrocious. But as a firearms guy who's trained a lot of law enforcement, I think these guys should probably face some type of charges, at least manslaughter potentially.
Online scams are getting more sophisticated, and basic email filters aren't always enough to catch them. That's why more people are turning to OmniWatch for an extra layer of protection. OmniWatch uses AI-powered scam detection that works around the clock to identify threats before they become bigger problems. Their premium plan also includes identity theft protection, a built-in VPN, and home title monitoring, giving you comprehensive digital security in one place. And if the unexpected happens, OmniWatch offers plans with up
people. When we have a terrible case like Henry's case, Henry Novak, we react calmly as his family have done. When it comes to disgusting images on Grok, we take Grok on and fight because that's who we are as a country.
Ah, that's what the issue is. Disgusting AI images on Grok. Andy, since you are... Yeah, go ahead, Michael, quick.
Andy, just really quickly here. It has nothing, in my opinion, it has nothing to do about the ethnicity or the religious background of the guy who clearly has been found guilty. It is about holding people accountable. It's about accountability. And one thing we have seen since Stormer has been Prime Minister, there has been a recurring theme of a lack of accountability from this guy. Whether it's foreign policy, whether it's domestic policy, whether it is addressing the immigration issue in his country, the economic issue in his country, the very real infrastructure issue in his country, the educational issues in his country. I've been studying this stuff for a while in the UK. And so for him to say, well, it's Elon Musk's fault for bringing attention to this, so people can say, well, wait a minute here. Why were the officers derelict in their duty? What are the trainings that these officers are going through? And how do we make sure that this doesn't occur again? It's about accountability. That's simply it. And as a Prime Minister, he should be champion wanting to have reforms across the country, but also wanting to hold those officers responsible because, again, Dave, I'm almost certain if this was in the U.S., they could be brought up on charges of manslaughter. So why is he excusing this versus trying to bring accountability?
Right, he seems more concerned about the guy who shined light on it. But Andy, from a British perspective, I mean, was the media in England talking about this? In the UK, were they talking about this, or was it just till it burst forth in the last week or so because of Elon?
They were talking about it because of the trial that happened, but the murder happened over half a year ago, and nobody knew about it until just recently locally. Keir Starmer has, it took him, I think, 4 days to issue a statement on social media, and he was basically forced to try to ignore it, which is a bit ironic because during 2020, he and members of his party were very, very quick to weigh in repeatedly on George Floyd, which is something that happened in another country, and allowed himself to participate in a political stunt where he got down on one knee to show solidarity with BLM. And many of the Labour left-wing politicians now who are wanting to move on from the story or to say don't politicize Henry Novak's death were very fast to politicize George Floyd's death.
Right,
and there's not a criminal investigation that's ongoing involving the officer's conduct and how they responded to Novak's death. There's an independent body looking to see if there was if what they did followed procedure, but there's not a criminal investigation. The names still have not been released. I mean, people were surprised that even the body camera footage was released at all, but really the police couldn't hold back anymore after the trial had concluded. And just earlier this week, the brother and the father of the convicted murderer showed up at court facing criminal charges. So the conspiracy may have involved a lot more than just the mother.
I want to show you guys 2 more videos on this because obviously the discrepancies that you point out there and the sort of double standard that everyone uses on these things depending on the race and the skin color and all that stuff, it's got a lot of people in the UK pissed. Here are some of the protests. So sure, Michael, this is pretty extraordinary stuff because there's 2 things going on here. First off, we already referenced George Floyd. The reason those people are saying on your knees is because the British police were on their knees for George Floyd and BLM, even though it had nothing to do with them and they don't have a police brutality problem. But then also the second part of that, where you see the police charging them every weekend in London. There are massive Hamas protests and jihadi protests all over the place, and the police basically move the barricades and they buy them coffee. So it's a disconnect between what the average person is seeing and the behavior of the government, and in this case the police.
Well, it's bigger than just a mere disconnect from the average person. And I guess I wouldn't call these guys technocratic because maybe they don't have the same academic background as the Prime Minister and folks in Parliament. But in many ways, they're Ponzi's, I suppose, right? And what you're seeing, and you said this in the U.S. too, that there's this cultural breakdown where there are people who don't necessarily have a problem with people who are different, religiously different, sexual orientation different, ethnically different. But I think the problem becomes, Dave, and Andy, I'd be curious what your thoughts are on this. I think the problem becomes when you begin to treat people differently. People say, wait a minute here, I'm welcoming, I'm open. But I think that there should be an equilibrium here, where we all start at the same place. One person isn't given an upper hand over the other person because of some sins that may have occurred hundreds of years ago. God knows we tried our best to overcome those things. But at what point do we say we have to move forward beyond just the past? And what you're seeing here, and this is just, I was telling Andy this is strange to me among a certain class of white progressive liberals. Liberals in the American sense, but also liberals in the British sense, where they feel this is like this condescension that they have to be the protectors of the minority, the protectors of the people of color. And if not for them, then these weaklings, these people of color somehow can't make it through life. It is just odd, psychologically strange to me, David. And what they're doing, the end result, they're fracturing their culture in the United Kingdom. They're fracturing the culture in the United States of America. It's quite the same. And so when you think about this breakdown of these familiar bonds that took a long time to build together, right? You think about in the United States, you think about even in the United Kingdom, where you finally got to a place where you had disparate groups of people finally able to cohabitate together. Now you have this strange, I would say, some Marxist, some socialist, some communist ideology that is now beginning to destroy those things. And the end result will be all of the values in the United Kingdom, very similar to the values in the United States, will be piecemeal, broken down over time. And so what once was the UK, what once was the United States of America, those things won't look the same anymore in the next 10 years because you're going to have a new generation who will hate anything that reminds people of the past. And that to me, David, is much bigger than just the mere destruction you're seeing. This is deeper to me. And I think it's important for conservatives, people like Andy, people like yourself, myself, to speak more to just the top line of this, but the real deep perversive destruction that these people are trying to cause and what the end result will be for all of us. Nobody wins here.
Well, a lot of what you're referencing is what the #1 book in America right now by our friend Gad Saad is Suicidal Empathy. These people that think they are the great saviors and actually they are ushering in something that will destroy their very societies. I want to do one more on this, which gets to the heart of the whether you call it a disconnect or the double standard or whatever you want to call it, about how you would treat or how the government seems to treat people in the UK or in the United States based on color of skin. Here is Nowak's father talking about how the murderer in this case, Digwa, how he got more leniency while his son, the victim, did not.
Henry should not have died on the streets of Southampton in police custody. The way he was treated was inhumane and degrading. His murderer, however, was afforded decency. He was believed. He was not handcuffed when arrested. He was not handcuffed when transported to the police station. As far as we understand, he was never handcuffed at all. And, as Vikram Digwa himself told the court, whilst under arrest for Henry's murder, police even took him to the kitchen so he could choose his food. The contrast is unbearable.
Andy, do you think there is a way out of this? Or do you think it's just the rot is just too deep? How do you fix this now?
I want to bring attention to why this murder why the whole story is so racialized. It's because the murderer used a race hoax, a false accusation of racism to gain an upper hand, and he was successful in that. That was why the police responded, in my opinion, with such callousness and disbelief to a dying person on the ground. And this is not an isolated incident. England is much smaller than the United States. Things that people's memories of things that happen in the community stick with them a lot more because it's geographically closer. This follows on discoveries that are still ongoing about other instances of people of color communities victimizing whites and getting away with it systematically because authorities turned a blind eye because they didn't want to believe white victims. And that's the case with the grooming case. There was just a judge in Yorkshire just unsealed information about the convictions of 15 men, all of Muslim South Asian background, who were part of the sexual abuse of a minor victim in one of many cases. And so this is the reality that people see, and whether or not their grievance and perception about policing in institutions being anti-white, whether or not that's true, we see certain official documentation, like I talked about a moment ago, where training has moved in that direction. So that anger is there. That explains why 2 days ago there was some violence that broke out in Southampton with people throwing projectiles at law enforcement, while 2 years ago there were race riots in some of the towns in the middle and north of England after the Southport murders. And so this issue is not the anger that some of the population feels is not going away, and the government is trying to manage this by just focusing on banalities, like talking about don't be angry and talking about how great diversity and inclusion is. That's not solving the issues, and I just wonder what's going to be the reaction next time when there's another type of Henry Novak situation or another Southport incident.
Bring us up on this one. Pause it just really quickly here. I intellectually understand why some people may feel the need, the desire, the yearning to self-correct from past misdeeds. I'm a smart guy. I can understand that.
Right.
But I think they're going about it the wrong way, Dave. Because what you're doing is you're pitting groups against each other. You're having the adverse effect. If you want to, I'm not a British citizen. I've only been in the UK a handful of times, so I can only speak from this as an American. But in our context, if you want to do anything to help impoverished young black kids, young black men, you know what you can do? Make sure they have a solid education. See what you can do to strengthen the overall communities and the family streets, right? That fathers are involved and engaged, so that those children have a fighting chance to excel academically, to do better economically. So that's how you make communities that have historically struggled, if you want to interpreted that way or worded that way. That's how you make them whole again. Dr. Carson, I used to work for, used to always say this when he ran for president: a rising tide lifts all boats. And so if I'm taking care of the white poor person in Appalachia and the black poor kid in Chicago, and I'm making sure they have the best resources, the mentorship, the academics, they both will rise. And they won't look at each other as enemies, or I have to have a one-up on you. But no, we're brethren, we're Americans, or we're British citizens, or whatever the case may be. And so it's really appalling to me that, again, back to my initial point, that the idea of self-correction is breaking down familiar bonds of citizens alike. And again, that's alarming. Back to the book that you referenced, man, we really have to be careful with this, because we're playing a very dangerous game here, Dave, that I don't think people really realize what the end result will be.
Right, and it's obviously, the important thing is obviously not race or skin color, it's ideology. Of course, it's your belief set and how you place them into action, which is a perfect segue to our next story. Good sleep affects everything: energy, focus, mood, and overall health. That's why so many people swear by Brooklyn Bedding. Brooklyn Bedding designs and assembles their mattresses right here in the US of A, focusing on quality materials, real craftsmanship, and comfort that lasts. Whether you're a side sleeper, back sleeper, or somewhere in between, they offer options designed to fit different sleep styles and needs. They're also one of the few mattress brands endorsed by the American Chiropractic Association for spinal alignment and back health, and every mattress comes with a 120-night comfort trial, so you can make sure it's the right fit. Go to brooklynbedding.com and use promo code Ruben at checkout to get 30% off site-wide. That's brooklynbedding.com, code Ruben for 30% off. So obviously everyone knows several big elections this past week. We're still trying to figure out what's going on with the LA mayoral situation and the gubernatorial situation in California. There were a couple others. One that got less coverage was out of New Jersey, where a guy by the name of Adam Amawi won the New Jersey congressional primary, a progressive, a Democrat, who has a bit of a dicey resume, let's say. Listen to this. Leading New Jersey Democrat congressional candidate Adam Amawi volunteered with Al-Qaeda-tied group in Bosnia. After traveling with the Blind Sheik, Amawi worked with the Benevolence International Foundation, later shuttered as an Al-Qaeda front. Here is Hakeem Jeffries congratulating him, and well, you know what, before I even have you guys chime in, here he is with progressive of the moment, Hassan Piker.
This is a question that I ask every candidate that comes on the broadcast, is the Zora method. What are your top 5 policies that you want to be defined by?
So, I talk about healthcare, not bombs. I talk about abolish ICE and to unrig the economy, but let's unpack that. So, healthcare, not bombs means Medicare for all, and not bombs means we need to address our foreign policy, and we need to look at the military-industrial complex, take it apart, and really see what we need. We are spending $1 trillion, on our defense / Department of War / Department of War crimes now, and what we need to do is spend that in healthcare and spend it in education. We need to abolish ICE, and so not only do we need to abolish it, but we need to dismantle the DHS completely.
Okay, let's put aside the second part there, his policies, for just a second. His resume and track record, Andy. You've been tracking extremists for quite some time. Are you not surprised that someone who's buddy-buddy with some Al-Qaeda people, Blind Sheik, etc., is now a progressive who won his race in New Jersey?
So with America's experience with 9/11 and decades of other jihadist terror attacks on the homeland and on Americans abroad, it leaves me with a lot of despair that the Democrat Party has really made it clear that they don't have any issue with Islamism, and by that I'm referring to the political ideology of political Islam. Now, for this man, he may be reformed. It was a long time ago that he had those extremist ties, but I think for anybody with that type of background in their biography, should have no chance in running in a mainstream political party. But not only did he do that, he won. And if I take him at his word that that was in the distant past, that he's on in extremis today, well, he should live his life well as a private citizen. But I do really resent that somebody who's an Egyptian immigrant, as he is entering U.S. federal, wants to be a politician for national U.S. politics and telling Americans where you're wrong here and there, and he takes on a number of very radical positions now, such as wanting to abolish immigration officials and other very destructive viewpoints that he has, and policy proposals, I should say. And so, the Democrat Party for a long time has been close with Islamist groups like CARE, and they don't have a problem with that political ideology, which is it manifests in terrorist attacks, in killings of American citizens, thousands over the years, and
sure, Michael,
this is
something
people want to embrace.
It just seems to me we shouldn't be surprised at this at all. We have Mamdani in New York. There's nothing wrong with being a Ugandan immigrant any more than there would be being an Egyptian immigrant or an Irish immigrant or anything else, except if the ideology you are bringing in is counter to American ideology. That's a problem. So let's even pretend that he ever so slightly has walked back some of that. I mean, in that conversation with Hassan right there, he called our Department of War, Department of Defense, the Department of War Crimes. That seems like pretty much a non-starter to me.
I'm very, very familiar with this race, and I followed it with great intrigue because I've been following the rise over the past decade now of anti-Semitism on the political left. I did some focus group work for the RNC about 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, at the height of the campus protest. They hired me to do a series of focus groups with Jewish students across the country. Now you're seeing some elements of this on our side. Dave, you've been speaking out about this for almost 2 years now. We got to combat this craziness. I'm not surprised, though, but I want to go through the three things he talked about. He said abolish ICE. So that means unfettered immigration for anyone in the world to come into the United States whenever they please. Our Constitution does not promise nor guarantee that. Immigration is a right that we guarantee when it is in our best and national interest, number one. Number two, he talked about...
They just don't care about that, though. I think that's a fair thing to say. They simply don't care, yeah.
And then he talked about foreign policy and the economy. And I'll merge those things into one here quickly here for the audience. The supremacy that the United States have after the end of World War II was because we set up all of the financial structures of the world. We helped rebuild Europe. The Japanese we helped rebuild. All of these partnerships, alliances, etc., all rest on the backs of thousands of U.S. troops, many of them who died in their early 20s at the end of World War II. So the supremacy we have is not by happenstance. It's not because we're some just decent, benevolent people and the rest of the world says, oh, we're just going to hold the dollar up as this great token of value, or we're going to hold the U.S. up for all their military might because, they're good people. No, it's on the backs of people who have died. It's on decades and decades of very complicated relationships, Dave, that we're still trying to wrestle with back and forth to this day. President Trump has tried to make some balances here and there. Sometimes he's been successful, some it's been a little more tedious. But the point being, if you're going to come into the country, you must understand the cultural values of the country, one. But two, you must understand the international might that the country now has and how it created that might. And it wasn't by happenstance. It wasn't because the United States of America all of a sudden, through some serendipity, found itself as the greatest nation in the history of humankind. It was because of legitimate ingenuity that took decades and decades to get us to the point where we have a $20+ trillion economy, the envy of the world. It's the reason, Dave, why the Indian economy in the late 80s, early 90s decided to go pro-capitalism. It is the reason why the Chinese are becoming pro-capitalism, because they look at the United States and say, well, holy smokes, look what occurs to the economy, look at what occurs to health, to academics, to ingenuity across the board in terms of military might, technological advancements, etc. Look at what the United States did. We want to model and be an emblematic of that. So why would you want to destroy that? And so I'm of the position, if you're not willing to be a studious student of our history, if you're not willing to incorporate our value, then you should not be permitted to run for public office because we don't want to be a third world country.
Right, but the question is, are we ever going to really grapple with that? I mean, we know we have terrorist sympathizers that are currently sitting members of Congress, whether it's Tlaib or Omar. I really do think you can throw AOC into that. So it's not just that we have incoming ones and people that are trying to get in; it's that they're there now. I don't know what you do with that, but I want to throw, just for time's sake, I want to throw to one other. This Hassan guy, I have been telling people forever, he's just awful. I used to work with him at the Young Turks. He didn't pass on the basketball court, which to me, that's like deport level stuff. But it's a little worse than that, apparently. This from the New York Post. Hassan Piker's seedy, sex-obsessed life, soliciting nudes, lists of best breasts, and a separate laptop for porn. YouTuber Ms. Kiff also claimed he had seen hundreds of nudes on the host's phone. Piker did not return the Post's request for comment for this article. Seedy Piker, who claims to have slept with over 300 women, also gleefully showed off all of the nudes he was getting sent on Snapchat as part of an article by Cosmopolitan magazine in 2018. Piker has also admitted sending nudes of other people to Will Neff, his streamer and pal, raising concern over issues of consent. He even joked about keeping boobs of note list. He said in one stream, adding, "The boobs I send every now and then, I send a pair that is concussion-inducing, and I send it to Will." On previous streams, he's admitting having sex with prostitutes and bidding a brothel in Germany for sex. Piker's also drawn scrutiny for comments involving disgraced music mogul Sean Combs, better known as Diddy, who is in federal prison on prostitution-related charges. I would love to hang in Diddy's Ciroc entourage and trickle down bang anything thrown his way, Piker tweeted in 2012. Years later, he claimed to have actually attended a Diddy after party at a Coachella music festival where some real weird pedo thing featuring a very young girl was allegedly playing on a screen. Andy, I don't know if you want to comment all of that. It all just jives with the person that I worked with. I mean, he quite literally was constantly talking about his genitals and who he was banging and who he wanted to bang. And the punishment at the Young Turks is they asked him to work from home, which this was before COVID. It was like, that was like getting a promotion back then. He's just a horrible person. But the only reason I'm even mentioning any of this, I don't care what he does, actually. The only reason I'm mentioning it is that all of these people are campaigning with him. The guy we just showed you sitting in his studio, he's on stage with Bernie. He's on stage with AOC. They have wholly embraced this guy. So good luck with all that, I suppose.
It is interesting that he's been embraced by a lot of the mainstream liberal establishment, considering he openly lives his lifestyle in a way that purports to go against the things that they care about, such as like women's rights and women's dignity. If these accusations about how he lives his personal life is true, I'm not particularly surprised. I mean, he's been on record about other, he's expressed support for other really quite horrific things. So him living his life in a way that may be personally degenerate, I'm not surprised.
He literally said he would vote for Hamas. Like, the guy,
Yeah, in addition to calling Orthodox Jews inbreds and expressing support for the 9/11 jihadist attacks, and I can go on.
Yeah.
I find it noteworthy that he announced to the world that he was banned entry from the UK, and he said that it was because of, at the behest of Israel, and that's complete BS.
So let me pause you. Let me pause you there so I can just show you a couple images referencing that. So he and his uncle, who is even, if it's how these people are related, what the family did in the gates of hell, I have no idea. But he and his uncle Cenk Uygur, who I used to work for, were banned from the UK. Were banned entry into the UK. Here's the tweet from Hassan on that. This is just in the last week. The UK has revoked my visa as well, all at the behest of Israel. The West is betraying liberal values for a genocidal fascist foreign government. Soon we will all become Israel. Okay, he's just such a sorry, I try not to do it. I did it once. I haven't done it in weeks. There you go. It is what it is. I'd like to show you the woman who is the Home Secretary of the UK. Andy, you know who she is. Her name is Shabana Mahmood, and she is the woman who banned Cenk and Hassan. Do you think that this lady, who's very pro-Gaza and Palestinian and everything else, did it for Israel? Andy, is it possible that Shabana, that she was acting in the, or is it possible that maybe they don't want more of these people to gin up hatred on their streets? Look at the first story we started with. They've got enough problems.
Yes, this is what Americans have to understand. In the UK, the Home Secretary has the executive decision to ban people, and they've done it a lot to a lot of Americans who have said things that are way less controversial or inflammatory.
Let me just jump in real quick. So just I wanted to point out, they banned Ezra Levant, who I've had on the show many times from Rebel News, who's a journalist in Canada. He happens to be Jewish. So I think Israel forced them to do that. And Eva Vladingerbroek, who you both probably know, who's an incredibly outspoken Dutch, I suppose we can call her journalist, who's been speaking about the immigration problems there. So this has nothing to do with, so the idea that this was done for Israel is just completely patently absurd. Sorry, Andy, go ahead.
And also, Shabana Mahmoud is somebody herself who has gone to Palestinian rights protests and proudly posted about it on her social media. She's supported BLM and George Floyd. So this is a lie from Piker. I think it's a way to grift and get his name in the headlines by blaming Israel. I don't think he understands the politics of the UK. Here, what the governments, whether it be conservative or Labour, they have a very, very low threshold on what they're willing to tolerate in speech. And if you are viewed as saying anything potentially pitting one group of people against the other, they will just ban you outright from entry. So Piker et al., the other leftists, had nothing to say when people who were on the right-wingers who have been banned, many of them over the years, from entry to the UK, they had nothing to say. So they're experiencing sort of, they don't like it when the same policies is applied to them and then they have to lie about it to the press.
Sure, Michael, real quick, because we're tight on time, but this endless ability to blame everything on Israel. This isn't, they weren't banned from Israel, although I think they would be, and I think it would be well within Israel's right and sensible nature to do that. And by the way, I think any country, I don't like that Eva Vladingerbroek or that Ezra Levant was banned from the UK, but I believe that every sovereign nation has the right to decide who comes into its borders. So this endless thing, like at the end, emergency, break glass, Israel. It's boring. It's just boring, if nothing else.
At some point, what I keep wondering about, and there are people on our side, some very prominent ones that you've been going to battle with for a while now. I mean, I've been following this stuff. I'm baffled that people still believe this craziness, Dave. I'm baffled by that. But I gotta tell you something. I'll put my Republican strategist hat on here for a quick second. I'm happy we have these guys on the Democratic side. The Graham Plattner's in there.
Yes,
you know, we're gonna win back the United States Senate. Because when middle of the road people, independent swing voters, suburbanites, they see this craziness, the guy with the Nazi tattoo, anti-Semitism, these crazy cultural values, people say, wait a minute here. I did not sign up for this. I don't want this. Maybe I don't like everything the conservatives do, but they're pro-business, they're pro-family, they're pro-national defense. That's a trifecta. That's good enough for me. So I say liberals, keep them coming. We welcome this debate in midterms.
I love hearing you say that, because that is something I was pushing real hard with this week, because I know there's so many people black-pilled on the midterms on the right, and it's like, guys, let them keep going crazy, let people keep fleeing New York City, let the Nazi be out there, let this guy blame Israel for everything, let it's Pride Month, so let them keep chopping off genitals of kids, and maybe the average person is going to be like, enough of that. Let's finish up with
LA. Look at LA.
Yeah, exactly. What did he say? What did Spencer Pratt say? Look around, and it got him at least to the next round, barring something crazy happening. Many people dealing with joint discomfort are looking for new ways to support their overall wellness and mobility. That's why more people are paying attention to the research around ivermectin and its potential anti-inflammatory properties. Originally developed as an anti-parasitic medication, ivermectin has been used for decades and continues to be studied in a variety of areas. The wellness company offers American-made Biden, who is apparently a doctor, although not that kind of doctor, and was also never able to diagnose her husband with anything. She's making the rounds. Here she is. Can we offer the warning? Do we have the warning? We can put in the warning. We will put in a warning because we are about to show you a clip from The View.
her book, she alludes to a much more fractured relationship between the Bidens and the Emhoffs. She writes that your family asked if she and Doug were loyal to your family. And she wrote that her husband, Doug, said they hide you away for 4 years, give you impossible bleep jobs, don't correct the record when those tasks are mischaracterized, never fight back when you're attacked, never praise your accomplishments, and then, he added, and still, they have to ask if we're loyal. Yeah, how do you respond to that?
I never saw that. I never felt that way with Kamala and Doug. I thought we were a great team. Joe
looked shocked.
Yeah, I feel, Joe chose her. And for Doug to feel that way, I really am surprised.
I have to tell you guys, I'm loving this. I'm loving this book tour because it's the Jake. I hate to say this to you, sure, Michael, because I know he's your colleague and friend, but this is Jake Tapper Book Tour Part 2. You were all part of a scandal that now you're on a book tour, having to answer questions about the thing that you partook in. She never saw it. She never saw any tension there, and she, by the way, she never saw that there was any problems with Joe Biden until she thought he had a stroke on debate night. Sure, Michael, I don't want to get you in any trouble there, so I won't even ask you a question, just start talking.
I think she's lying. Because remember, I think a day or 2 days later, Dave, she was on the campaign trail with him. And she's like, everything's fine. Joe is in perfect health. Now she writes a book several years later, thought he was going to have a stroke. And then I think in the book she also writes that she thought he could win again, but she didn't think he could make it another 4 years. This was the biggest lie and facade put over the eyes of the American people. And it is why they lost in the most recent election. It's why 27% of black men went for Trump. It's why 44% of Hispanics went to Trump. An increase in Asian Americans went to Trump. It's why you saw a huge wave of working class people move over to Trump, because they lost faith in the Democratic Party, not merely because of the economy, not merely because of immigration, but because you had an administration for 4 years that lied continuously, and the American people lost trust in them.
Andy, it's no wonder why Kamala would write a book throwing the Bidens under the bus, because they don't have any juice anymore, right? Joe's almost done. He's not going to do many more appearances. And Jill is obviously a liar and unlikable. So Kamala, it's just a win, in essence, to go after Biden, right?
Yeah, and I am not, I don't want to move on so quickly from the last administration. I know that a lot of people think that 2020 through 2024 is a long time ago, but there were a lot of people who were complicit in what appears to be a cover-up to the American people. And a lot of them have sailed into the sunset with book deals and speeches where they don't have to address what their role was in fooling all of us, in deceiving all of us. But I want accountability. I'm glad that Mrs. Biden has done this, released this book, because it's showing the reaction from a lot of Democrats and how angry they are on a midterm year. It's actually revealing a lot, because it shows they don't want this brought up again.
The other highlight, of course,
terrible time.
We already referenced it, but let's just throw to this clip of her downplaying now the stroke comment.
Do you think that there's a chance you had a blind spot to it as the person closest to him and to his spouse who just loves him so much?
You're saying many aides saw this. No one ever came to me and said, Jill, Joe's aging or something's wrong. So when I saw that, no doctors came to me and said that. And Joe, like I said, you said has a full team of doctors around him. And so when I saw that, when all Americans saw that moment on TV at the debate, I was frightened out of my mind, because I thought, oh my God, he's having a stroke. To this day, I still cannot say, what happened in that moment?
Wow.
What happened?
He'd given so much of himself, and to see you even saying, I thought he was having a medical episode, I was concerned. Was there any part of you that went into protection mode of Joe, you can't keep doing this. They're taking so much from
But the doctors told me he was fine. I'm not a doctor. I am a doctor.
Except you're not really a doctor, even though Whoopi wanted you to be Surgeon General. Sure, Michael, you already said she's a liar. It's extraordinary. Isn't it really like there's something very devilish about what she's doing, because he's still alive. He's not on the book tour. He's not with her, because obviously they don't want him out there. It would make it look all the more ridiculous. But if she believed he had a stroke, maybe she would have called. How did she never see it? I did videos before he was president about his cognitive situation. How did I see it and she just had nobody ever said anything to her?
Everyone saw it, and even when his book came out, if you remember, he went on The View.
Yeah.
And she was there with him. And she jumped in a lot to correct things, to say certain things.
Yep.
Every interview he did, she was right there with him every single time. You're not going to convince any person with eyes and ears that there wasn't a steep decline, a precipitous decline with the former president that was noticeable. You go back to when he was vice president for Obama, Trump, and then him running. These are two different people, Dave, and there's no denying it. And to me, just as a strategist, why in the hell would you do this now to your party? Now, I'm happy because this brings us back into the forefront, and we know that a lot of Americans are angry about this, and it reminds the American people of what Republicans will say. Maybe we didn't get everything right in the first year to get back in power, but you can't trust these people. End of story.
Yeah, I think that's completely right. Just in the interest of time, I'm going to drop one clip, and I just want to end on what was our biggest story this week, or what we covered the most, which was the LA mayoral race, which I kept saying to people, you may not care about LA anymore, you may not care about Hollywood anymore, but it's an important city that I think that if it just goes the wrong way now, this is its last chance, it will really be a signal to America. So right now, as it stands, according to NBC News, Karen Bass has 35%, Pratt's at 29.9%, Nithya Raman, who made up a whole bunch suddenly in these mail-in ballots, she's now at 22.8%, and then on the gubernatorial side, Steve Hilton's up by about 2 points on Xavier Becerra. Andy, you've done a lot on Antifa and the urban decay and so many of these blue cities and all of this stuff. I mean, LA, the drug situation, the homelessness situation, and everything else, if people don't vote their way out of it, assuming it's going to a referendum or it's going to another election in November, if it's not Pratt, it seems like it's over there.
Yeah, I think, in liberal jurisdictions, across the United States, it's people are just too wedded to the Democrat Party, and it doesn't matter if they are literally surrounded by destruction, arson, and human waste. They cannot vote for somebody who has an R next to their name, and it's really tragic because it's more people are gonna die under the continuing policies.
Sure, Michael. I've been making the point that in a weird way, having Pratt having this go to a runoff is the best possible thing because it will keep the light. It's sort of what you referenced before, but it will keep the light on this race where the difference between wacky Democrats and a just kind of average, decent human being, that kind of helps Republicans nationally because it's an important race that people are paying attention to. That could genuinely help in the midterms nationwide.
Well, it absolutely can. I mean, look, in my estimation, we're still in the era of the outsiders, where the average voter, including many Democrats in California who voted for Spencer Pratt, including many young people as well, they are outraged by the elites. They trusted for a long time, we all have, these people who have the institutional knowledge to know how the system should function and operate will yield the best results. But what the hell are the results, Dave? What are the results, Andy? What's the tangible result for the average hard-working person out there, the recent college grad? There are no results. And so people looking at Spencer, they say, look, maybe he doesn't have the experience. Maybe he doesn't have the knowledge. Or maybe he's never run a major organization or business before. But you know what? We've tried the people who have. And what have we gotten for it? The highest taxes in the country, high crime, unfettered immigration. You have homelessness that looks like a third world country for blocks upon blocks upon blocks. And you have a local government that does not function at the high level that it should. So why in the hell should we trust the people with the knowledge and the experience when they have given us this, as opposed to the outsider who said, you know what, I want to come in and be a disruptor. People want disruptors. And I'll just add quickly, even when you look at the special elections, Dave, across the country, where Democrats actually have seen some successes, all of those candidates were running as outsider Democrats. Right, not as an institutional guy or gal.
And what that will leave us with will be an increasingly radicalized Democrat Party and hopefully a Republican Party that will be for everybody else. Gentlemen, according to the numbers that I'm looking at over there, you both passed the test today and you are welcome back at least one more time. was good seeing you guys. We got no post-game show on Fridays. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Good to see you, Dave. Good to see you, Andy.
As a family farm, when prices go up the way they are, it